Sounds good.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Nettles. Welcome to my channel. All right, guys. So you know what it is. You know why you're here. We're here for another one of these great Westerosi debates. Today is a special day because today we're debating Rhaegar versus Daemon. Yes, you heard that right. Another dance of the dragons. Targaryen versus Targaryen, okay? So as you can see, I have some amazing contestants today and an awesome judge. So I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves. I'm going to tell you guys the rules and we're going to get into it. All right. So first up, we have Gray Waist Tim.
Hello, everybody. I'm Gray Waist Tim. You can find me on my own YouTube channel, Gray Waist Tim. You can also catch me almost every single Sunday anymore with David Lightbringer as a guest on his channel. Currently, we're doing the rewatch for House of the Dragon. And as for myself, for my own channel, the next video I have planned is the follow-up to Westeros Be Like, which will be the Essos Be Like, another trip down the Wojak community.
Oh, God. Okay, awesome. Then we have Damon's dog, but I call him Ash.
Hey guys, my name's Ash. This is my first time speaking in a public forum about A Song of Ice and Fire. You can't really find me anywhere. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything like that. I just love to talk about A Song of Ice and Fire. So that's why I'm here tonight.
Awesome. Now we have reading Rhaegar.
Hello, yes, I'm reading Rhaegar, and you can also find me as an occasional guest on David Lightbringer's channel, much like Gray Waist Tim. I'm pleased to be here to defend my actions concerning the war and 15-year-old girls and other things. Yes, let's go.
Woo! And then our judge today will be Richard.
Yes, I'm Richard. You can find me on, I'm Richard of House York on Twitter and Blue Sky, and you can find me on mostly on Old New Dude's channel more often than on my own. I haven't put out any new videos in quite a while, but Mondays and Fridays I typically do a live stream with Old New Dude.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. I'm so excited. It looks like the chat has already started to pick out the emoji. I see a red worm for Daemon and then a guitar for Rhaegar. Do we like that?
Well done. Yes, I approve. I approve this.
I like that. We're definitely keeping the guitar. So chat, please, if you can, go into your emoji section, find that red worm, find the guitar, and then just post it there. That way it's in your most recent emoji, so you don't have to look for it. So whenever you feel like Daemon is winning an argument or Rhaegar is winning an argument, go ahead and post it so that our judge, Richard, can see it. But he's the Electoral College. He's not.
So it's really just the guitar emoji they need then, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Yes. Actually, just the guitar. You don't need to search for that other one.
No, who needs the red worm?
But yeah, so here are the rules. So we do have questions. We're going to go one by one asking these questions. Each team will be timed. They'll be able to respond, and then there will be a rebuttal, and then the judge will award the team the point. Now, please, judge and chat, please base your choice on the arguments, not your preconceived notions, not who's the hottest actor on the screen. Please base it on our arguments, because some of us are coming up with some new theories on the spot. So just keep that in mind. Any questions before we get started?
I just want to point out that there's probably more than one red Fender Stratocaster in the world with a dragon on it. Probably just together in one. In Los Angeles in particular.
All righty. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so here are the teams, first of all. I should tell you guys who the teams are. So on the winning team, Team Rhaegar, is me, Nettles. and reading Rhaegar. And on the losing team, for Team Daemon, we have Grey Waist Tim and Ash. So sucks to be you guys.
I'd like to point out, Richard, our host is already sounding very biased.
Whatever.
Can't imagine why.
It does sound like biased language. I approve this message. Damon's dog, are you coming through clearly? I'm concerned about your volume and your signal quality.
Yeah, you're frozen.
And it's not a flattering face that it's frozen.
No, it's fine. It's a perfectly normal face.
It is a relief to know that is a frozen image and not a frozen human face. That's better.
Ash, I would say go out, come back in, and just do audio. If you can hear me.
That is the solution.
But in the meantime, let's get the question going just so we can start pondering.
Sounds good.
And our team will go first to give Ash some time.
All right.
Yes, says he's just upset.
Question 1. Which man better inspires loyalty among his followers? And which of you is going first?
You want to take this one? I can.
It's up
I'm
to
ready.
you. It's up to you.
All right. Okay, I'll go first. Rich, could you read the question like twice? It doesn't have to be
Sure.
one after another, but just
Sure.
to get the chat.
Which man better inspires loyalty among his followers?
Okay. And my time starts now. So I have never seen straight men take out their dicks and whack off to a man like I've seen this done with Rhaegar. Rhaegar has the entire world, like in world Westeros and in our world, behind him. Nerds who have never seen sunlight or done a push-up are buying swords online right now, ready to fight for Rhaegar. And why is that? Why was Rhaegar able to muster 40,000 men at the Trident? Wow. Like, if this is a popularity contest, he's won over Robert, okay? Rhaegar is proven to be able to muster men based on loyalty alone. Y'all know who Rhaegar's dad was, the Mad King, and people ignored your toxic dad because they liked you so much. Like, that is who Rhaegar is. Rhaegar inspires loyalty, to answer my question, because he has so very little flaws. He fulfills almost every tenet that society asks of a man, and that is my time. Okay, loser team, which one of you?
Well,
Which one of you wants to go?
I guess I'll take it.
All right, Tim, hold on a second.
Some of y'all better start talking some trash soon here. This is going to be one-sided.
When you're a star, man. That's what I tell Rhaegar. All right. And your time starts now.
All right, so Daemon inspires loyalty. He was able to whip the gold cloaks into shape. He basically had those guys as his own private army. Even before his brother Viserys took the throne, before the Great Council was even called, this man was able to muster enough men to create his own private army to go. He was ready to go to war. He would have thrown hands for his brother. And that's one of the reasons why the Great Council of 101 had to be called in the first place. Daemon would have marched on King's Landing, pressing Viserys' claim. And this is coming from a guy who is so far down the line of succession. At least with Rhaegar, he can inspire loyalty, but he's also the crown prince. There's more to gain from sucking up to Rhaegar than there would be from sucking up to Daemon, when Daemon is nowhere even near close to the throne at that point. He's just one of Jaehaerys the Conciliator's many, many, many grandchildren at this point.
And time. Okay. Reading Rhaegar, your time starts now.
First of all, my reputation is so good, it can be used as a brand to invade Westeros with nearly 2 decades later. So what does that tell you? Okay, half the kingdom supported me despite the fact that my dad was batshit crazy. Jaime Lannister was so loyal to me, he killed my father at the exact moment I asked him to. And the 3 finest Kingsguard knights in the kingdom threw their lives away for me, guarding my wife and child. That's loyalty. Now, look at the way everyone laid down for me at the tourney of Harrenhal. Let me win. When has anyone done Daemon a favor like that? Never.
Never.
That's right. And people jerk off to me because I have an OnlyFans, to be in full disclosure. That's
Yes.
link in the description below. And finally, the Martells still love me to this day, despite the tragedy that befell them. And that's because I'm so awesome. That's
Okay.
I rest my case.
And you still have time, but now that's your time. Let's see what Ash is up to. Okay, Ash, you ready?
You may just want to go audio only.
Oh, now, yeah. Oh.
It's a
And
shame.
this-
I know
this
he
is-
was very excited for this debate on Twitter.
No, I know. This is just how it goes. You know, it's just a symbol for how awful Daemon is.
Oh, shit. I'm getting double teamed and not in a good way.
This is very unfair. I'm about to defend Daemon myself. It's
I
just
know.
I do like him. He's a good chap, you know.
I mean-
I didn't get everything right, but he's
If
We could
Ash,
probably melee this. Let's melee.
I mean, if Ash can't get it working, then I can always just make a second rebuttal and take his time.
or
Yeah.
does Richard perhaps have a defense for Daemon Targaryen?
I didn't get the questions until like literally as we started, so I
No,
don't know
that's
that I
not
have.
fair. That's
I'm
not
prepared to step in for these.
Nettles, you may have to be a switch hitter. I don't know. I'm not sure how we can.
I can definitely be a switch hitter. I've never heard that term, and I
That's
like
number
it
one
now.
hunger. That's from reading Rhaegar to you.
I would say, yeah, Ash, I see you, but yeah, try to turn your camera off. Like go to settings, just because it'll take less.
Or just click on
Go
the.
to settings, or stop cam. There's a button that says stop cam as well.
Yeah, this is the cam button. Yeah.
Okay. Now your camera's off, but we cannot hear you. Let me see if I could do something. No. Okay. Well, for this one, Tim, do you just want to? I'll give you another
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
rebuttal.
Yeah. So in response
wait.
to what reading. Okay. Yep. Give me my
Wait,
time.
I'm a godly woman. Don't be doing no. Okay, ready?
Mhm.
Your time starts now.
Okay, so in response to what reading Rhaegar had said, yeah, 3 Kingsguard went down for him, but not for Daemon. That's because Daemon doesn't need anyone else to fight his own battles for him, okay? Daemon can take care of himself. Daemon is a tried and true tested warrior. This man got Corlys Velaryon, the richest, most powerful lord of his time, on his side to fight a private war in the Stepstones. Daemon prepared for his fight against Aemon One-Eye with the idea that he might die. He did it on Dragonback, not wearing a seatbelt, mind you, so that he could jump out of the air. What did Rhaegar do? Rhaegar lost his first real fight, went out like a punk bitch, never even thinking that he might have a chance to lose, because Rhaegar was so in love with the idea of being the hero of his own story that he never even put in the thought that Robert might win. Now, Daemon prepped, Daemon planned, and Daemon took Aemon out knowing that it was going to cost him his own life in doing so.
Do you have a rebuttal reading, Rhaegar? You can take it.
What's this have to do with loyalty? These are good points, but it's just not pertinent to the question.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like, talking about battle prowess has nothing to do with loyalty. But good try, Daemon Sam.
I did go out like a bitch. That's true. There's there. Robert's Warhammer is very big and heavy.
Loyalty.
Okay, we can hear you. We can hear you.
By the way, if it cuts off again, I'm probably better off sitting it out. Sorry about that.
Okay, but could you still participate in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I was going to
All
say
right, cool.
about loyalty. I think Rhaegar's limited by his need to be moral in a way. I think Daemon will inspire loyalty in a variety of ways. He can placate using money. That's how he gains the loyalty of the Gold Cloaks. He also will inspire loyalty through fear, which I don't think Rhaegar will do. You can argue it to be a less moral way of doing it, but I think it's a more effective way of inspiring loyalty, and I think Daemon does it that way.
All right, that's enough out of you. Richard, who gets the point? Chat, what do you guys think?
Why am I not seeing the chat?
You probably have it on private chat instead of comments. Click over to comments.
Aha.
Aha.
Much better.
Discovery. Now you can reheed them.
What are we seeing here?
So far, I've seen 3 guitars.
Yeah, I think it's
suddenly 2 worms out of nowhere.
Oh,
I actually
okay.
can't see them anymore.
All right.
I think they're
Well.
it was Sam.
Anyway, overall, I think that I think I'll have to give the point to Rhaegar for this one.
Yeah.
Although I did like you at least mentioning the dragon back. I think I could see how dragons would inspire loyalty, but you didn't really make that case very well.
All right, cool. Next question. So the other team, you guys could go first since we went first last time.
Do you want me to take this one, Tim?
Yeah, because you've spoken the least.
All right, Rich, if you could read the question. Question
Yes,
2.
question 2. Which is the better family man / father? Which is the better family man father?
Well, this is
right.
a tough one to argue.
Whoa.
Yep.
And your
Wait till she says time.
Start now.
Well, this is a tough one to argue for Daemon. I'll try arguing against Rhaegar first. I think Rhaegar leaving Elia and his kids in King's Landing while he goes and basically absconds with Lyanna kind of tells you a lot. I mean, his father didn't have Dornish inclinations, and he could have took Elia and his kids to Dorne. I mean, if he was going to go there anyway, it seems like the safest thing to do. So that wasn't the most, family-orientated move. I also think Daemon inspires a lot of loyalty in his own family. I think he is very loyal to family in every sense of the word. I think you can see that with the way Jacaerys looks to him and the way he's loyal to Rhaenyra. So that'll be all I'll say that, because I think my connection's going to end any second.
And time. Did you say your connection's going to end any second? Well, that was perfect timing. Okay, because that's your time. All right.
So Nettles went first last time. Is David going first this time?
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have said Rhaegar. I apologize. I don't know how I confused you with this David guy. I don't know where I got that
Well,
from.
I am unfortunately limited to inhabiting David Lightbringer's body, so I understand the confusion. Go ahead.
That's how multiple personality disorder works.
Like
You
a
don't
Dragon
get
Reborn
confused.
thing from the Wheel of Time, if you know the reference. Go ahead.
All right. Who's the better family man? Your time starts now.
Well, I love my children so much, I wanted to give them dragons and did everything I could, and eventually succeeded. However, Daemon couldn't even set up his daughter Rhaena with Nana Vhagar, so that's really kind of no excuse for that. I compose music for my children and help them to sleep. I don't know that Daemon does that. I spend my entire adult life, trying to set up my kids for success. Daemon was obsessed with killing and vengeance. I had so much love to give that I married 2 women, and I didn't murder either of them. Can't say the same for Daemon. It's just one big weird prophecy family. I don't expect y'all to understand, but I trusted and confided in them, and we all worked together. Who did Daemon trust and confide in? Really hardly anyone. He was a one-man team, so I would maintain that probably Daemon killing his nephews and wife disqualifies him outright. But I've made my case for myself as best I can.
All right, time. Opossum Plays says he only loved too much. All right, Tim. Your time starts now.
All right, first off, Daemon murdered his first wife, which was from a forced marriage, not one out of a love. He did not have any children with the bronze bitch, so she don't count. Second, Daemon's a better family man because he can look at his kids and know that they are not just accessories. Rhaegar had children to fulfill the means of a prophecy that Daemon wasn't even party to. His children were his children, and he named them and taught them with purpose. They weren't just accessories meant to fulfill some kind of grand dream of his. He looked at them as the successors to his legacy. He wasn't playing some kind of fantasy. That is what when he named his kid Aegon or trying to recreate the conquerors. He knew that they would be good enough to do that all on their own.
All right. And time. Carl Karsnark says Daemon was always running off with that girl Nettles, and we all know she's nothing but trouble.
Confirmed. Hashtag facts.
All right, and my time starts now. So what makes a family man? That's somebody who's a good son, a good brother, and a good father. And Rhaegar is all three of those things. Rhaegar is a good son because he had the most difficult father of all time. And he never killed him, even though we know in our real world, princes are off to kill their dad when they get tired of waiting. He never killed him. He never ran away. He dealt with him using his emotional intelligence to kind of navigate his father. He knew how to like the right buttons to press to keep the Mad King from disinheriting him. We know the Mad King didn't like Rhaegar, but he never disinherited Rhaegar because Rhaegar was just too good of a son. As a brother, Rhaegar fulfills the heavy duty of being the firstborn. His younger siblings look up to him because he set such a good example. And as a father, Rhaegar is the father to the savior, which is the greatest father of all. Boom.
We're gonna have rebuttals.
Yeah. I guess it'll be like Tim, and then either I are reading Rhaegar, and then your rebuttal, and then our second one will be a rebuttal. Does that make sense?
No, that was very confusing.
Okay. So either you start first and I have the rebuttal, or I start first and then you have the rebuttal. And that way Tim has like a question and a rebuttal.
It still seems a little bit unfair. Maybe we
Yeah.
can take turns. Like I could take one answer, and you could take the other, or I don't know.
We could do that. We could do that.
I guess it's all for entertainment purposes.
It is. But okay, we could do that. So for this one, well, we have
Tim,
to do
you're
it for
doing
the
a fine job, by the way. Hell, it's nice to
Yeah.
see you. I never really get to talk to you directly, but I always see you on David Lightbringer's streams, and I think you're an excellent chap.
I know that Dave, he's forcing a wedge between us the way Otto forced one between Daemon and Viserys.
Two rights. He's a real dictator, that Dave. Go ahead.
Well,
All right.
Oh,
So yeah, you have your rebuttal now, Tim, and then for the next question, one of us will be on your team.
Well, on that note, bringing up Otto Hightower is the big wedge maker. Otto Hightower is the big wedge maker between Daemon and Viserys. He is the thing that is causing Daemon to not be seen as the good brother that he really is, because everything that Daemon is doing, he is doing for the good of Viserys's rule. Yeah, it seems it's more of a tough love approach. It's more of be a real Valyrian, be a real dragon. But he's not trying to create a coup against his brother, not the way that Rhaegar essentially did a coup against his own father with this tourney at Harrenhal. No, Daemon is the better brother and the better son in that case, because everything that he is doing is to try and further Viserys's rule. Unfortunately, Viserys is the one who is too blind to see that, and is the one who kowtails to Otto Hightower and his other advisors that he can't see all the things that his brother is trying to do for him. That's not Daemon's fault. But from perspective, Daemon is the true brother, not the one trying to take power from himself.
And time. You can finish your statement, everybody, whenever I say time. But yeah.
I was done.
Okay, so Richard, who gets the point?
You guys aren't going to do a rebuttal? We've had 3 from one side and 2 from the other at this point. Ash went first.
Hey.
And Tim went third, and so we need one more rebuttal, don't we?
It's the rebuttal.
You don't have to take a rebuttal if you don't want to.
The rebuttal goes like this: a family is more than just a nuclear family. Daemon killed his nephews and participated in an inter-family civil war. How can you call him a better family man? That's my rebuttal.
That's all that needs said. No timer needed. Like, he actually killed his family.
It's a pretty good point. I was pretty impressed with those arguments. I thought Tim made some really good points, but let's see here. Overall, what did I think overall I'd probably have to. I guess we'll have to. I'd have to give it to Rhaegar. I'd have to give it to Rhaegar. Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, kinslaying is taboo, right? And we're
what do we do? Chat? We got a guitar. I think literary paracosm says not Rhaegar conspiring against his dad and getting called a great family man. Listen. He didn't kill him.
I just find it interesting. So many people know so much about what happened at Harrenhal. Do tell. What are your sources?
I was kind of surprised. That Tim was willing to admit that he murdered his first wife.
They didn't have kids, so it didn't count.
He didn't count. The marriage was never consummated.
Okay, so they weren't married.
Still a murder, my friend.
But my point is, the history is ambiguous, right? I mean, you're conceding the TV show version and just taking the L there.
That's true, yes.
Yeah. So before we go to the next question, I think we're gonna have to just mid change. Like, Rich, I think you have to go over to Daemon's side, or you could be on Rhaegar's side. Rhaegar wants to go to Daemon's side.
I'll tell you what, to make this more fair, I will leave the spirit of David Lightbringer's body and let him argue on my behalf himself.
Yeah, but I'm thinking we should just make it 2 versus 2 and let the chat vote.
Oh.
Okay.
Just so we're not like switching and making it confusing every question.
Wait, where am I? What's going on?
You're still here.
Oh, did it happen again? What did he say about 14-year-old girls? Am I canceled? Or am I still? Does my channel still exist?
No. He just spoke about family and loyalty and not killing
cool.
your. Yeah,
all right. Because sometimes he gets carried away with the whole, medieval time stuff.
All right.
Yeah, Richard. Can you be on Daemon's team, or would you rather be on Rhaegar's?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just to keep it consistent, I guess I'll take Daemon's team.
You'll take Daemon's team. Okay, cool. You're going first next one. No, just kidding. I'll read the questions, but now the chat. I need y'all's fingers to be ready. I need you guys to vote. But Richard, you're still keeping score since you started.
Okay. What are we at? We're at 2 for Rhaegar at this point.
Woohoo! 2-0. Tim, how does it feel? Aren't you ashamed? 2-0.
No, Tim.
Wait, maybe I can change the score now.
with Ash in and out, I've been fighting a handicap match. I think I'm doing pretty well as far as that goes.
Yeah, you made some good arguments.
Hey, our job is to entertain the people here. Come on, we're doing great. Tim's doing great.
All right, here we go for question 3. My team will go first, so to give Rich some time. Dave, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Anytime. I'm always ready.
All All right, here we go. Question 3. Which man is smarter? Which one has more intellect? Again, which man is smarter? And your time starts now.
Well, I would say that Rhaegar is smarter because he figured out the prince that was promised prophecy. Daemon was like killing crabs and stuff. It's just not on the same level. He figured out that Lyanna was supposed to be the mother of the prince that was promised. So not only is he like pondering ancient prophecies, he's probably having dreams, cross-referencing them with prophecies, and figuring out what to do in real time, and then having the courage to do that thing, even though it's like kind of controversial. So he definitely not only figured stuff out, but acted on that insight. And, he read a lot of books. We did see Daemon reading books too. That's cool. It said that Rhaegar learned to read at such an early age that people thought that Rhaella had swallowed books and a candle during pregnancy. And Daemon figured out how to leave House Targaryen with almost no dragons. So that's kind of smart. Whereas Rhaegar helped bring down the Targaryen dynasty so that Dany, would be rid of all the privilege and be born an orphan so she could save the world. He thought the whole thing out. Lots of foresight.
You is so smart. You is so smart. Tim, good luck. The question is, which man is smarter? And your time starts now.
Okay. I would say that Daemon is smarter because while Daemon was not keen to the Aegon's prophecy, he didn't need to know about this prophecy to drive everything that he had done. And as for Rhaegar is so blinded by prophecy. Again, he can't even see the idea that maybe it doesn't apply to him, that maybe he'll lose. Rhaegar never heard the great line from Marwyn the Mage about prophecy biting your prick off. Daemon didn't need to know that because prophecy is not the thing that drives him. Everything that he has to do, everything that he has to gain, he has to find his own way to do it. He has to carve his own way out. That requires a lot of thinking on your feet. Yeah, we might not see Daemon he might not have the book smarts that Rhaegar was said to be, but we do see him reading in the library of Pentos. We see him looking up the histories, but he has the street smarts that Rhaegar lacks.
Time. Wah, wah, wah. Okay.
That's a good argument.
All right, which man is smarter? And here we go. So Rhaegar has physical intelligence, mental intelligence, and emotional intelligence. A triple whammy. The dragon has 3 heads. Rhaegar has physical intelligence. He is able to fight. He has studied. You have to understand physics and space and time to be a good fighter. You have to be the kind of person that your brain tells your arm to move and it moves in the precise way. That's very hard of us. Some of you have horrible handwriting and your brain tells your fingers to write a certain way and your fingers can't do it. Rhaegar has physical intelligence. He has mental intelligence, as we don't have to go into it about the book reading again, how much of a nerd he was, mental intelligence, and then emotional intelligence. Like I said, the way Barristan describes Rhaegar, he's describing somebody who is moving the people in the place around him. People don't move Rhaegar, he moves them with his emotional intelligence. He knows how to talk to Mad Ares, which is a different way of how he talks to Barristan, which is a different way with how he talks to Tywin. He's able to do that with his emotional intelligence, and that's my time.
I particularly like the Rhaegar has good handwriting. Defense. That's like the Chewbacca defense. That's good.
Richard.
Yeah.
Welcome. I'm so proud of you.
All right, let's do this.
All right. Which man is smarter? Your time starts now.
Well, both people faced a civil war, and one of them took prompt action, was smart enough to see what was going on and what needed to be done, and one of them went off to the Tower of Joy and disappeared. Right? How could Rhaegar fail to see this? Well, clearly he just wasn't smart enough to see it. Right? Not smart enough to see the consequences of naming Lyanna, which caused an uprising. Right? He was also outsmarted in his coup attempt. Right? So I think the results matter, and Daemon was smarter at understanding what was going on and seeing the problems coming, and Rhaegar just wasn't smart enough.
All right, you don't need your time.
That's all I need.
All right, cool. Do you want a rebuttal, Dave, or you want to let this one go? You got it?
Yep.
All right.
So
And the rebuttal starts now.
So Rhaegar admittedly didn't get everything right. However, unfortunately, he was trying to do two things at once. He was trying to, as peacefully as possible, replace his Mad King and as the current monarch, while also figuring out what to do about the end times to prepare for the White Walkers, which he, at the beginning of his life, thought might be coming during his life, and then shifted to thinking that it was going to be his children, which partially right, his child Jon, obviously, and his sister. So he was smart because he prioritized. He made sure that he had baby Jon and that he and Lyanna were safe and secure in a secret location and well guarded, because that was the most important thing. Then he tried to go win the war, which was important because that would help him put his kids in a better situation. He failed at that. He didn't win the war, but baby Jon was safe and protected. We don't know what exactly Lyanna said to Ned at the Tower of Joy, Arthur Dane, but Jon is now at the wall in a position to help save the world. And so, yeah, that worked out.
All right, awesome. Tim, Richard, you guys have a rebuttal?
Yeah, to build more on what Richard was saying.
Hold on now. Hold on.
Waste your time.
Start.
Yeah, so to build more on what Richard was saying about Rhaegar not recognizing things, Daemon saw the situation for what it was very early on. As soon as Aegon is crowned, Daemon's immediately calling a council. He has his map spread out. He's moving his chess pieces, trying to find out where he can get a toehold. There comes the idea to take Harrenhal. Robert's rebellion was allowed to grow and fester too long. There was no action taken by either the Mad King or Rhaegar for that part, because if we're gonna put everything on the Mad King and say, oh well, it's all his fault and Rhaegar had to take action, well then we have to assume that Rhaegar is at this point has the power of attorney over his own father and should be making these decisions. He doesn't recognize Robert's rebellion either for the problem that it really is, and he doesn't take the time to quash it early, to let that thing die in the cradle, which is what normally you would expect with a small rebellion. All right, I'll let you interject.
Time.
Mm-hmm.
Can I comment? Just not even rebuttal, but I just think that Tim made a good point. And for the sake of entertainment, like, what if Daemon had been in Rhaegar's position? How would he have conducted the war and also trying to fulfill the prophecy versus how did Rhaegar doing it? Like, that's actually a really interesting question.
It's like two jobs, two completely different jobs.
Because we're all just kind of waiting for the last bit of information with Rhaegar and like what they were doing, the Tower of Joy, why, like, there's so much information we don't have. So we're kind of judging him, but also filling in the blanks with different hypotheticals. And I also think that the street smart argument is good too. So that was good. I enjoyed that.
Dave, I just want to say I really like your hair.
Oh, thanks.
All right, chat. You've heard our arguments. You've heard our rebuttals. You know that it's Rhaegar all the way. But I'd like to... I want to see those guitars in the chat. And if you feel like defying me, put the damn worm. Put the damn worm.
Demand worms. Conqueror worms.
Bring me the
Let
worms.
me see your worm.
Yes. I am the god of worms.
If you're 18 and up, let me see those worms. No. I had to. Richard, you need to start counting.
Oh, am I supposed to be the one counting?
I told you. You're doing the voting.
No.
I'll help you. At least you're writing down the tally. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 worms.
6 worms to 4 guitars. 5 guitars now.
Yes.
Okay, I'm burning out with my dragon.
Violet,
More guitars.
Violet Dragon, you say I make a great lawyer, but then you throw in the guitar. How much more betrayal can I take?
One final
Is it tied right now?
Squisher King says, Nettles convinced me with the 3 different types of intelligence. You know this.
That felt very close to me. I would not be surprised if that came out in a tie. There were good arguments on both sides.
I think we might be up to 6 and 6 right now.
Yeah.
Come on, somebody break the tie in the chat.
Somebody who hasn't voted, vote.
Yeah. There's 28 people in the chat. Come on.
Why can't it be a tie?
Wait,
The first
Literary
one to come up
okay,
with
it
two
could be a
worms
tie.
and one guitar.
no, you already voted.
And
That's,
no-
that,
no
that
literary
doesn't count.
yeah,
voting.
literary
That's still
breakup.
6 and 6. It doesn't count if you already voted.
Yeah.
What about the doctor?
At least
The
use
doctor-
your burner. At least
voted
use your
before.
burner. You got to log into your burner account. You know. You want to vote
A
twice.
win's a win. This is America. This is how we count the votes. Log into your burner account.
If you want to vote twice, use your burner like everyone else.
The doctor and Farah are new. That's 2 more guitars. 3
No.
more guitars, maybe.
All right. I guess
Too
that's it
late
then.
to change your vote now. You're locked in as a guitar.
Oh damn, it's a landslide. 3 for Rhaegar. I didn't know it would be this easy. Tim, step your cookies up. Step your cookies up.
Aye.
All right, here we go. Question 4. All right. Someone said there is such a thing as sexual intelligence. Carl Karsnark. Question 4. Which man more fully embodies House Targaryen? And that means like symbolically, stereotypically, prophetically, whatever House Targaryen means to you, which man fully embodies what it means to be a Targaryen? So it's y'all's turn first. So Tim,
It's probably
you're-
easier for Richard not having prepared to let Tim go first, and then
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And your time. Once again, chat, which man fully embodies what it means to be House Targaryen? Your time starts now.
All right. While Rhaegar might be lacking in the prophecy department, he makes up for it with both the symbolic and the stereotypical. Daemon is a dragon rider. That is something Rhaegar can't claim to be. That is something Rhaegar will never have. Rhaegar will never know the feeling of taking the dragon back, of flying in the air, of unleashing waves of fire across his enemies. That is why he lost. That's why he lost on the Trident to some guy in a horned helm that has no practical use in combat. Someone who is a gigantic target, but Daemon flew his dragon over the stepstones. He crowned himself king. That is something that Rhaegar can never claim to have, as he is the full embodiment of fire and blood. He is the conqueror come again.
Time.
he just went burning Elmo gif on that one.
You're a freaking traitor, Tim. All right, here we go. Which man more fully embodies House Targaryen? Number 1, Rhaegar is so Targaryen, a dragon would have been overkill. Let me say that again. Rhaegar is so Targaryen, a dragon would have been overkill. It would have been too much Targaryen with a damn dragon. A dragon would have been a crutch that people like Daemon need, because Daemon doesn't have like enough of his own standing. He needs a dragon to be cool. Rhaegar doesn't need a dragon to be cool. Rhaegar embodies the true nature of the Targaryens. He has the soul of Daenerys the Dreamer, a person capable of saving the world. He has the soul of the type of Targaryen that didn't want the power of the ruling class of Valyria. They were mighty enough to command the dragons, but they just didn't want to boss people around. They just wanted to fly around their dragons. Rhaegar embodies the Targaryens when they were in Valyria without the slavery and violence. Rhaegar embodies a Targaryen who has it all, the work-life balance we all crave. Talented, but humble, a true Targaryen. All right, Richard. And your time starts now.
Rhaegar is like the negative Targaryen. He doesn't lose his temper like a Targaryen. He's singing songs. He's the opposite of a stereotypical Targaryen. And what could be more symbolic than the battle over the God's Eye, right? It's not just that he's a dragon rider, he's the dragon rider. He's the most symbolic Targaryen of all Targaryens, and epic moment. And again, Rhaegar is like off at the Tower of Joy when he ought to be engaging in war. He's not behaving like a Targaryen, like a stereotypical Targaryen, like a symbolic Targaryen. He's the anti-Targaryen. We should get 2 points for this one.
Yeah.
It's not how it works.
No.
Okay,
One for
you
Daemon,
yield
one
your time?
One for the lack of Targaryenness of Rhaegar. One for the ultimate Targaryenness of Daemon.
And that's your time.
All right.
You lick spittle. And your time starts now.
All right, so Daemon is a fine Targaryen, but he killed his own blood kin, and he left his house weak. He channeled too much anger and fury and self-destructed. The dragon blood, you could say, went bad in him. He's more similar to Valyrian slave lords than he is to Targaryen kings with wisdom and balance. Rhaegar balanced wisdom and warrior prowess, whereas Daemon, and this is the most important point, ignored prophecies and dreams. And that is just as much being Targaryen as riding a dragon. And ultimately, being Targaryen, not Valyrian, Targaryen is about Aegon's prophecy, using dragons to save the world. Rhaegar, his whole life was engaged with that. Daemon was not engaged with that at all. And so if we're talking about who's the more Targaryen, it's clearly Rhaegar.
Didn't even need all the time. How about that? Do you losers have a rebuttal?
Tim, do you want to say anything?
Oh, I'm gonna let. I've said my piece. I think I'm gonna let chat make the decision.
Okay, because I have a rebuttal, so don't let me be the last one to drop the mic because it's gonna be 4-0.
It's your show. Drop it.
Okay, my rebuttal is symbolically, Rhaegar is a singer, a fighter, and a brainiac, which is a symbol for old Valyria. Stereotypically, Rhaegar is polygamous. If we're going to use the show, he married Lyanna, and then he has that eccentric personality. And then prophetically, whether you believe he's Jon's dad or Dany's dad, he's the father of the savior.
All right. I'll go.
All right, go ahead.
What could be more Targaryen than fighting for the throne and kinslaying like Rhaegar and so forth, right? I mean, it is Targaryen. What he's even his flaws are Targaryen. Even Daemon's flaws are Targaryen. Anyway, just wanted to.
Okay. All right, chat. You've heard our points. You've heard our rebuttals. Let's see them worms. Let's see them guitars.
And in all, putting aside the debate context, it's interesting how they embody different aspects. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, sorry.
I won't say reasonable things. I'm going to go get my parrot. My parrot is
Thank you,
screaming.
James.
Hang on, I'll be right back.
Yeah, bring him. More Team Rhaegar. Bring him, bring her.
Thank you, Edward Martin.
Are you counting? Let me help you count.
Damon, you're slacking, Damon. Where are you at?
I love Rich. I love how I invite you on here, and I'm just like, work, switch teams, do it. Count the vote.
It's like 7-3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, worms are winning.
Put the damn guitars in the chat, or else.
7-3. Worms are winning.
8. It might be 8-3.
You know what? You know why worms are winning? It's easy. Okay, no. Period.
More worms.
Dragon.
See?
Period.
We let you win.
Worming.
I felt sorry for you. You were crying over there. I saw them tears running down your eyes. So.
Rhaegar didn't ride a dragon, but like his son and his sister are going to ride the most important dragons. Like the single most important active dragon riding in Targaryen history is coming. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Devoted to Mariah, this actually is the second week this has been done. This is Nettles is doing this regularly.
Yeah.
And Cleo
I'm trying to. It depends on everyone's schedules. So what's the count now? Rhaegar wins again?
No.
Damon got this one.
Damn it. Fucking lick spittles. All right, question 5. Question 5. Which man is the better husband? You hear that? Which man is the better husband? Did we go first last time?
Yeah, it's our turn to go first. and
No,
it's my
no,
turn to
Tim
go
went first last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bird butt.
We have a
You
dragon
get
butt.
the bird butt. You get the bird.
We've
Tell me
got-
when to start.
We have a descendant of a dragon here showing us their butt. All right. Which man is the better husband? Your time starts now.
So really, this is not a fair question to ask a wife killer, like Daemon, or a cheater like Daemon, because he cheated, with Mysaria and Nettles. I did polygamy. I'm sorry, I'm not wearing. I get confused. Rhaegar did polygamy. I have not. I'm very single, actually. But Rhaegar married both of the women he wanted to sleep with. He didn't cheat on anybody, it seems. Dorne is still trying to marry their kids to Rhaegar's kids. So they obviously don't hold anything against him. And Lyanna died holding the rose crown that Rhaegar gave her. So his women loved him, both of them, it seems. Or at least Lyanna loved him, and Elia, it seems like more of a political marriage, but didn't hate him. And Barristan says that he treated her kindly or whatever. The Tower of Joy is a very, very nice place, to hang out. And in all fairness, Rhaegar shielded Lyanna from a marriage that she didn't want to be.
And that's time.
So that was nice.
Your last point was that he's such a good husband. He saved Lyanna from a marriage that she didn't want to be in. That was beautiful. I loved it. Gray Waist Tim. You ready for your poppycock? Which man is the better husband? Your time starts now.
All right, first, we need to squash these scandalous rumors about Daemon and Nettles because there's nothing to confirm that. Second, Mysaria was a relationship that happened before his marriage to Rhaenyra, and the continued dalliances that he had through the marriage came with Rhaenyra's approval, which is a very Dornish aspect, as we're told, since everyone loves to speak for Elia Martell and when they say that, oh, she was cool with Rhaegar running off with Lyanna. Second, when Daemon leaves for Harrenhal for the good of the war, he's leaving knowing that he has left a strong woman with a dragon in good care. He is not leaving his wife with his crazy racist father. Let us not forget that the Mad King had openly stated about his own granddaughter, she smells Dornish. This is a man who was very openly racist towards his own family.
End time. Jeez. Not the race card. Okay, I guess that's me. All right. Which man is the better husband? And here we go. So first of all, ladies, Rhaegar is not afraid of commitment, and that's what we all want. We hate a man that drags it. I want to know, what are we on the second date? And that's what Rhaegar is. He's not going to string you along. He's not going to use you, abuse you, and toss you aside. He's going to marry you, baby. He's going to marry you. So that is what makes a good husband. So I asked the internet what makes a good husband, since I don't know, my definition might not be good. A good husband is someone who loves his wife and treats her with respect, kindness, and loyalty. He's also someone who can communicate well, compromise when needed, share his passions and values with his partner. A good husband is not only a romantic partner, but also a friend, teammate, and father. Now, does that sound like Rhaegar? Yes. Does it sound like Daemon? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. This is the Rhaegar that Connington got, okay? A romantic partner who's also a friend and a teammate. And that's what anyone would want in a husband. I yield my time. All right, Rich.
All right.
Which man is the better husband? Your time starts now.
Well, first off, I do not accept the Maester propaganda of this TV show you may have watched. The history is very ambiguous, and we don't know that Daemon was anything but a loyal husband.
Doctored video.
Secondly, it's easy to go for commitment if you're just going to turn around and commit to the next person again and do polygamy. What kind of commitment is that if you're just able to go off and get married over and over again? Whereas Daemon actually does stick with his marriage, right? And so, despite this vile Maester propaganda on our TV screens, Daemon was a perfectly loyal husband. And it's not respectful or loyal to go off and marry somebody else. I'm sorry.
All right, time. Maester propaganda. Do you have a rebuttal, Dave?
Yeah, I want to let me know when you're ready, but yeah.
All right, and your time starts now.
So I'm just a little confused that we're mentioning, Rhaegar left Elia with his father when his father was racist. His father didn't kill Elia. Elia was killed by the Mountain who was working for Tywin Lannister. Like he took the city. The city was defended with soldiers and an army, and they lost the war. Like that's why Elia got killed, and also because the Mountain and Amory Lorch are psychopaths. And Tywin Lannister likes to employ such. And had set them loose to do atrocities, and such as we saw in the Riverlands. So that's probably why House Martell doesn't have a grudge against Rhaegar and is trying to marry their kids to his children and siblings and stuff. So that's just what I wanted to address. Yeah,
that's all you need. All right. Do you Lickspittles have a rebuttal?
Steady stream of insults from Colonel Nettles.
Well, I got one, so in rebuttal
All
to
right. And your time starts now.
Okay, so Tywin doing what he did has nothing to do with what the Mad King himself had said, because the Mad King is the one who opens the gates to Tywin and allows the sack of King's Landing when he takes the advice of Maester Pycelle. But even without that, the fact that this man could look at his own grandchild and make such a comment, it doesn't matter that Tywin and that it was Tywin's men that ended up killing the children, because had that not happened and had the gates stay closed, then they still would have been trapped in this castle with the Mad King, with a man who's looking at his own grandchildren and his own daughter-in-law with disdain. So who's to say that the Martells would not have had more of a beef with Rhaegar and with the Targaryens as a whole if Elia had to suffer more through the comments of the Mad King had those unfortunate events not happened?
Time. All right, chat, you've heard our arguments and rebuttals. Who is the better husband? Who would you rather have? Daemon with his diseases or loyal Rhaegar?
Lord Fleabottom. Who wants to marry that? Come on now.
All right, that was my last bias comment. All right, so far 3 guitars, 2 worms. 3 guitars,
How are there
3
any
worms.
I don't understand.
3 worms.
This
5
one should not
guitars.
be close. Sorry, I'll stop arguing. That's unfair.
So, okay, that's worms just went up to 7.
Ash is in the chat. He says, I'll take Daemon with not rot any day. Not rot? Is that that sounds like a venereal disease.
I feel like Rhaegar just became racist by extension somehow just now. That was
I
weird. Why
know.
are we talking about Ares? What does that have
No,
to
he's
do
saying
with
he
Rhaegar's
left his wife with somebody who was
Completely
racist
irrelevant.
against his wife. He abandoned his wife to somebody who was racist
He
against
didn't
him.
abandon his wife. God, she's an adult.
Yes, he abandoned his wife and children to chase a 15-year-old girl and left them in the hands of crazy grandpa.
Allegedly, Violet, allegedly.
They were
Maester
evil.
propaganda.
There's
Violet
no
Dragon
secure
says
place.
Daemon killed his wife. So don't be talking
I
about
know,
what
that's what
Rhaegar
I'm
did with
talking
his
about.
wife.
That's what I'm-
Don't worry about
Blonde
what
bitch
Rhaegar doing with
doesn't count.
It doesn't count. No, it doesn't count.
Don't worry about what Rhaegar doing with his wife.
Tim, don't open Twitter. You're already canceled. I clipped that, posted it. You're canceled. It's already happened.
No, The Rock
Rich,
wasn't
what do we got?
listening, okay? He lost control. Obey me, Rock. Obey me.
Rich, so Rhaegar won again?
Yeah,
I'm
Rhaegar
gonna
wins that. All right, 4-1.
Closer than I expected.
It's funny because in the poll on Twitter, like Rhaegar versus Daemon, everybody was voting Daemon.
Yeah, well, where are those people now? Fighting for my life here.
Okay. Sorry. Number 6. Which man is better at 1-to-1 combat? 1v1.
It should be ours first.
Yes.
Tim first, I suppose.
Yes. All right, Tim,
All right.
you ready? Once again, chat, the question is, which man is better at 1v1 combat? And your time starts now.
All right, well, this right here should be a given that it's Daemon. Daemon is a proven fighter. He can fight in a tourney, and he's a bar brawler. This is the man who has true combat experience, someone who took the war fight to the stepstones, someone who took out the crab feeder all on his own. Rhaegar Targaryen had one real fight in his life, and he lost it.
Boo! Is that it?
That's it. That's all I
You
need.
yield your time?
I
Okay.
yield my time.
All right. You want to go first, Dave? I'm ready.
I'm always ready.
All right, I'll go first, and I'll let you put the button on it. Go. Okay, this is why I have another one. All right. Which man is better at 1-to-1 combat? Here we go. So I'm going to have to use my 8 Mile moment and just point out the obvious. Yes, we know that Rhaegar lost one of the most famous 1v1 battles of all time, but so did Daemon. Daemon died at the end of his most famous 1v1 battle. Okay, so let's throw that out there. I see that 1v1 battle similar to Oberyn in the Mountain, where Rhaegar would be Oberyn and the Mountain would be Robert when we account for size. And what we saw in the Viper versus the Mountain is that Oberyn, even though he lost, everyone agrees that he was way more skillful than the Mountain. And Rhaegar fought Robert for an hour. They say they fought for an hour. People can't even have sex for an hour. You can't do anything for an hour. So that shows that he was not losing. He wounded Robert. Let's talk about tourneys. At Lannisport, he beat 2 Lannister. He's beat 12 knights and Sir Barristan Selmy, and only lost to Arthur Dayne at Storm's End. He beat Stefan Baratheon, Jason Mallister, Oberyn Martell, and defeated Arthur Dayne. And then Barristan Selmy is the only one that was able to defeat him. So don't play with Rhaegar, and that's my time.
I got to come in straight with the rebuttals now because
it's Richard.
Yeah,
I get to speak first.
Wait,
All right.
turn.
And then your
You'll
time.
be forward
right now
on
with everything that I have to cut.
Just have to wait a little bit.
With that.
All right, Richard, your time starts now.
Well, first off, I wouldn't say that Daemon lost that fight. I'd say he won that fight and died in terms of the God's Eye. So I take issue with the idea that he lost the fight at the God's Eye. Not at all. He dominated the fight and sacrificed his life as part of that, potentially, right? Even that's not exactly 100% certain. Our opponents earlier acknowledged that Rhaegar's opponents seem to have often let him win. So quoting his going on now to quote all his tourney victories when we know that Daemon really was winning tourneys is somewhat questionable, I think. And then Rhaegar may have gone for an hour, but he still lost, and that wasn't the Pyrrhic victory of Daemon, losing and dying and winning. It was a trivial loss.
Enough of this.
Enough of this.
Look,
And your time starts now.
look. This is honestly just a matter of circumstance. Rhaegar did not have a Valyrian steel sword. Daemon did. Okay, Daemon had a dragon. Rhaegar did not. So when it comes down to tourneys, Daemon lost to Kristen Cole, who's not exactly Barristan Selmy. Okay, Kristen Cole's a punk ass. So I think in the end of the day, we don't know who's the better warrior. They're both excellent warriors. Rhaegar was said to be one of the best warriors of his time and proved it in the tourney. He went toe-to-toe with Robert in a river. Who fights in a freaking river? Like, their horse could have stumbled. Who knows what happened? The main thing is that he didn't have Valyrian steel as Daemon did. And if he had Valyrian steel at the Trident, that might have turned out different. So I'd say they're both pretty similar, honestly, except for that, again, Daemon lost to Kristen Cole, and that's embarrassing.
And that's time. All right, rebuttals?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Oh my God.
Oh, I gotta come with the fire right now.
And your time starts now.
Okay. Everyone talking about Daemon losing to Kristen Cole, but Rhaegar winning all these matches at the tourney at Harrenhal. Okay, right there. Rigged matches. The tourney of Harrenhal is a front. It's to make Rhaegar look as the better candidate so that the coup against his father will go well. These are rigged matches. Barristan even says himself that if he had won, things could have gone different, which probably means that Barristan took a dive, and had he really been trying, probably would have unseated Rhaegar. Now going for Daemon, yeah, the loss to Kristen Cole, but in this case, the loss is actually a win in his favor because it shows that that tourney was not rigged. Kristen Cole was not taking a dive for Daemon to win. There was no need to make Daemon look better. And then finally, when you call the Daemon versus Aemon fight, it's not one-on-one, it's 2v2. Caraxes and Vhagar are there as well. And let's remember, Caraxes, noodle boy that he is, he's going against the biggest dragon.
And time. I just want to say that y'all are saying that people are going to be pulling punches for Rhaegar because he's a prince. Daemon's a fucking prince too. Do you think they're going to be as fair at the tourneys?
But he's not the crown prince trying to commit a coup.
Oh my God. I don't think anyone's trying to kill the royal family. We saw that in Dunkin' Egg.
We just heard, ladies and gentlemen, that losing to Kristen Cole was actually winning. That doesn't make any sense. So just if we're judging based on the arguments, I think they lose the point for just saying what is it?
No. It proves the point that the tournament wasn't rigged. Rhaegar had his own tourney at White Walls going. He's Daemon Blackfire the second.
Those are unsubstantiated rumors. And if we're gonna take all the rumors as true, then Daemon killed he might have killed two of his wives, not just one, because Laena's death was also suspicious in Fire and Blood, by the way.
It was the same year that he married Rhaenyra.
Yeah, and then he married Rhaenyra as soon as Laena died. So let's if we're gonna take all the you worms disgust me in the chat.
All right, chat, it is time to vote. I already see a lot.
Rhaegar the beta. He had two of the hottest women in the realm.
Cole was the greatest fighter of his generation. I don't know what you're talking about him being a punk. He's a historically great fighter. I don't know why you're calling him a punk.
All right, chat, it's time to vote.
Misleading people.
Tourney at Harrenhal was a glorified White Walls. Everything.
If you need little children killed, then call Daemon. He's a better child killer. That's for sure. I'll give him that.
I'm not seeing things right. I think we have to start the vote again because
no, there's so many worms. You're just mad.
Violet Dragon's trying to make up for it by multiple times putting multiple guitars in there.
I'm just yelling.
That's even no matter how many times you do it, it's still just once. Violet.
We're talking about 1v1 and y'all said 2v2. The dragon doesn't count. Ugh.
Well, the dragon counts.
What does the question say 2v2 or does the question say 1v1?
I don't see Caraxes' name.
I was just correcting you calling Aemon versus Daemon a 1v1 fight because it's not. It's a 2v2.
Well, Daemon's a better dragon rider. I'll give you that.
That means that your question is worded wrong. Your question is flawed.
All right, Rich, did you give the point to the losing?
I think we get the point.
All right, guys, question 7. Which man is the better leader in the field? So this would be the opposite of 1v1, which is who is the better battle commander? Whose team's going first this time?
Let's see. Tim went first last time.
Okay, so it's our turn.
Mm-hmm.
I went first last time.
Yeah, you went first the last 2 times, but that's all right.
All right, cool. We're going to make it even. All right, here we go. Once again, chat. Which man is the better leader in the field, the better battle commander? And your time starts now.
So Daemon didn't lead anything, actually, apart from the Stepstones, which arguably Corlys was in charge. Daemon just goes rogue as soon as the war starts. He doesn't lead any troops in battle in the Dance of Dragons war. He flies his dragon around and does his own thing. So he's not really a leader in the field. He's more like a free agent. He's an effective free agent, but he's not actually leading troops in the field. And then Rhaenyra, he left Rhaenyra defenseless in King's Landing. Well, he was LARPing around in the Riverlands with his, carrying out his grudge against Aemond. And you could say tactically taking out Rhaegar was important. I'll give you that. But yeah, Rhaegar was doing great until that friggin' Baratheon guy came along with his friggin' Warhammer. We talked about that. And honestly, Rhaegar doesn't even like war, and he still did a better job than Daemon. So,
All right. Tim, which man is the better? Huh?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, which man is the better leader in the field? And your time starts now.
Okay. Even before the war, Daemon has shown himself to be a capable commander when he whips the gold cloaks into shape. He gets that into a true fighting force, gets that into a true police force, and he's keeping King's Landing under pretty well run. I mean, yeah, he's the Prince of Flea Bottom, but sometimes to really get into things to show that you're capable, sometimes you have to get down into the muck and get dirty yourself, which is not something that prime and prim Rhaegar would do. Second, I think it's rich to say that Daemon left Rhaenyra defenseless in King's Landing. He's leaving a dragon rider with a dragon riding son. He probably doesn't more than likely, he didn't think she needed protection. Not like Rhaegar, who again is leaving Elia behind and his children behind with crazy racist grandpa to go chase after a 15-year-old girl.
It's the racist grandpa card again. What's it got to do with anything? Sorry, go ahead.
Let me shut this shit down. Tim. Which man is the better leader in the field? I may be a girl, young and inexperienced in the ways of war, but I know the importance of the voice of the battle commander. Y'all are forgetting that Rhaegar is a singer. That means he's trained his vocal cords to modulate in specific ways. That means his diaphragm game is crazy. As I am a student of music, I learned how to make my voice powerful and to carry over distances, the same thing that Rhaegar had. So when you think about singers, I think of Scott Stapp from Creed. Imagine Rhaegar. Can you point your lances higher? I think of Freddie Mercury from Queen, a voice that carries out. Think of Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. Because when you scream like that, it's training on your voice. So the better singer you are, the better that your voice carries, the better of a battle commander that you are, because the man closest to you and the man furthest away can hear you. And I have more, but that's my time.
One in now.
Point your lances higher.
Now.
Take me to Valyria.
I can't. I wasn't ready for that.
Okay.
Can you take me higher?
I just want to pause and say, I just want to hear from you three, because I couldn't decide. In my head, I'm like, what would Rhaegar's voice sound like? And these are the three that I came up with: Scott Stapp, Freddie Mercury, and Chester Bennington.
No, Rhaegar.
What do you guys think?
Rhaegar would be on his harp singing, "How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere to run." That's Rhaegar's voice.
I'll have to think about this. Chris Cornell, thank you. You sound like Chris Cornell. Yeah, that's it.
Is it my turn?
Oh.
Fine, it's your turn. And your time starts now.
Well, if you don't count his victories like David, then sure. But let's be clear. We know he was the leader of the Stepstones. That's why he was crowned, right? He was crowned for his battle leadership. And as far as why he keeps bringing up the racist card, it's a dereliction of duty. And what kind of leader is committing dereliction of duty? That was Tim's point. Tim mentioned earlier that he marshaled an army for his brother's council, right, before the Grand Council, and so we know that he is in fact a good leader of men. That he's able to raise armies. He's able, as he said, get the gold cloaks in shape. But we know that he really did win the Stepstones, right? And Corlys makes it clear that he was the leader and he's deserving of a crown for his victory. And so what results matter. He's the better leader. He's the one that actually has won a war. And the real reason that they lost was the dereliction of duty.
I thought of it. It's don't waste your time on me. You're wrong.
I think it's Robert Plant. When you think about it, it's Robert Plant. Like Robert Plant sings about 15-year-old girls a lot. He's got fair hair, does shirts always open. I think that's it. But
Led Zeppelin.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, good. I know Led Zeppelin. I don't know their names. Okay.
But it's my rebuttal, and I'm ready. So let me bring this here. Flip that thing over. Let's do this. All right, look.
And your time starts now.
10 years. 10 years it took you to conquer the Stepstones, a bunch of crappy little atolls run by pirates. That wasn't a conquest. That was Viserys letting you busy yourself and keep yourself out of trouble. Then, he beat a disease-ridden crab cosplay guy after like 10 years. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and then if we're going by the show, we're talking about someone who like literally hits the messenger. It's a saying. Don't kill the messenger. Daemon's like, here's the backside of my steel helmet.
Gosh.
A little child. So, but my main argument is that in the Civil War, he did not actually lead troops in the field. That was not really his role. He was more of a free agent. And you can criticize that or support it, but that's just not what he did. Rhaegar actually did lead troops in the field and was doing well until he lost the battle against Robert. So, hey,
You a foe?
Yeah, I do.
You have a rebuttal, Tim?
I do have a rebuttal to that.
Swinging from a gallows pole.
And your time starts now.
Okay, yeah, you bring up 10 years that it took to conquer the Stepstones. And this is, 10 years devoted to trying to take down a place that is infamously famous for being hard to hold. But when it comes to Rhaegar and his dereliction of duty, as Richard has been saying, how long did it take for you and your family you're no longer reading Rhaegar, you're Dave. How long did it take for Rhaegar and his crazy father to lose an entire dynasty? Less than 1 year from some rebels from what would be they're considered lower houses because they are the crown family. These are your vassals. You allow an uprising to come, and in less than a year, they overthrow almost 300 years of continuous rule.
Okay.
Would have been nice if we had dragons around. Also, Rhaegar died at the age of 23. But let's pin that on him. Absolutely.
All right, chat. It is time to vote. Okay. Which man is a better leader in the field? Is it a worm for Daemon or is it a guitar for Rhaegar?
Well,
in chat, I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you guys think Rhaegar's voice sounds like when he sings? Don't waste your time on me. You're already.
I must object. His voice has got to be like sweet, perfect. I mean,
I do want to point out this Chloe Rhaegar. Like, homie had the only air force. It took 10 years with air superiority. Okay, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, pretty much every other quagmire that the U.S. has gotten itself into by sticking its dick where it doesn't belong. Air superiority means nothing when the people when you can't keep down the people that are actually on the ground that are fighting the war. I think things got too real there for a moment.
I was just picturing the South Park Bin Laden as crab feeder. That's where my brain went.
Someone said Rhaegar would sound like Cher.
Cher
has a unisex voice. Cher's unisex.
The count's pretty close, but I think it goes to Rhaegar.
Ooh, that's right. All right, next question. Which man is better in the bedroom? Meaning, which man had the better sex life? Which man's milkshake brings all the girls to the yard?
And the boys.
I forgot. How could I forget our Griff? How could Listen, let me whip
It's
myself.
Tim's turn to go
That was
first.
not good. All right, Tim.
Okay. Well,
Wait a minute. Which man is better in the bedroom? Who brings all the girls and boys to the yard? Your time starts now.
okay, so going off that line about sticking your dick in places where it doesn't belong, when it comes to body count, if we're basing it purely on that, then we got to give it to Daemon. For Rhaegar, we only have 2 confirmed, that being Elia and Lyanna Stark. But Daemon, let's see, he's pulling in Mysaria. He's, granted, it's his niece, but he did pull in Rhaenyra. He pulled in the princess.
Wow.
It's ick, I know, but it's true. Facts aren't always pretty. And then, of course, there is the scandalous rumors, but they could be true, that he did pull in Nettles. And then that's not to mention all the other dalliances that he's had. Him and Viserys in the show, him and Viserys talk about the things that they did when they were boys. So Daemon got around. Daemon's someone who has shown his work on when it comes to his sex life.
And that's your time. You want to go first?
Either way, I honestly, it's
Whatever. We're here now.
We're here now.
And your time starts now.
So if we're going by the show, this is really bad for Daemon because first thing we see is that he might not be able to get it up unless his sex worker friend brings him a virgin that looks like his niece.
My lord.
He abandoned that hot niece in a brothel, and again, show canon. Couldn't even take care of Rhea Royce, who I think, deserved to be taken care of. She seems nice. I honestly, I mean, you could at least get a hate fuck going on, Daemon. Couldn't even muster that much. Rhaegar, he fucked Elia, Lyanna, John Connington, Arthur Dane, all consensually, all at the same time. That's what they were doing at the Tower of Joy. And that's Daemon can't compare to that. So we're not going on body count. Rhaegar never cheated. Daemon did. Daemon is essentially lazy. Rhaegar did actual polygamy. And Daemon might put a lizard baby in your belly.
And time.
Well,
What you got, Lickspittle? And your time starts now.
I mean, the point of the count here is that he has more practice. Ned is thinking about how he doesn't quite imagine that Rhaegar was getting busy with anyone but his wives, right? He just can't picture him at a brothel because he just can't picture him, cheating. And so the point of the Tim bringing that up is practice makes perfect. And so he's had a lot more practice and he's probably a lot closer to perfect. And again, the show is just clearly Maester propaganda. We have to go with the book. And even that, we have to acknowledge the Maester propaganda and put a suspicious eye on anything that doesn't cast the great Daemon as the, I forget what are the 2 terms that they use? There's a discussion. Some men view him as the greatest, and some men, I can't remember exactly the words, but you get the point. The point is that you notice the history doesn't capture those aspects of Daemon.
And time.
But the idea, the concept there is that even the Maesters can't deny that there really was some greatness to Daemon. They just don't want to write any of it down.
And time. Cool. All right. Which man is better in the bedroom? Meaning, who has the better sex life? What we know about Rhaegar seems to suggest that his sexual interactions involve more consent than Daemon's. But the fact of the matter is that most women want the man who's going to oil you down, massage you, take it slow, take it deep, give you some wordplay, rather than those short jabs that Daemon was giving in the show. Nobody wants that. Ladies, no, there are men who just use your body to masturbate with. That's what it looks like Daemon was doing. Thrust, thrust, thrust. Versus Rhaegar, who's going to play the harp. He's going to have the grapes ready for you. It's just a different sexual encounter. It's more like making love than sex. So Lyanna left the maiden's fantasy Robert for Rhaegar. Why is that? Even Cersei said that Jamie was just a stable boy or whatever she said compared to Rhaegar. So please, it's Rhaegar that brings the milkshake to the yard. And that's my time. Rebuttal?
Yeah.
You got it, Tim?
Yeah.
All right. And your time starts now.
All right. So a comparison for Rhaegar was before he found whatever scroll it was that made him think that he had to be a warrior. They called him They called him Aerys the First Come Again, a man who was famous for not having sex with his wife. When it comes to Rhaegar and whatever sex he is having, it seems to be strictly for procreation. The whole thing is fulfilling the ideas of what he needs to do to bring this prophecy about. This is not making love. This is planned sex on a schedule. He is simply doing what is necessary for the biological function and nothing more. I think it is way, way out there to say that a man like Rhaegar, who is only interested in creating the 3 children he needs, is somehow performing foreplay. No, he's skipping straight to it, and boom goes the dynamite, and that's all he cares about. Once he has a baby, he just wants to move on to having the next one. There is no love making in between.
And time.
Yeah.
You want a rebuttal? Yeah.
Yeah.
And your time starts now.
Tim just made all that up.
Why would you say that?
This whole question's been.
You have no idea how often they bet. Look, Elia was a political marriage. They had 2 kids pretty quick. Okay. Then he married Lyanna for some mix of love and prophecy. I always say that prophecy is romantic. You know what I mean? Like it's a good reason to fall in love, feeling like you two are destined to save the world. So it's called the Tower of Joy. I imagine much joy was had. Rhaegar just seems like a soulful dude, but we're all projecting as far as that. We know more about Daemon's love life, strangely. And a lot of what Daemon was doing was really twisted and messed up. So I just tend to think that Rhaegar's probably eats pussy better.
Jesus. I wasn't ready. I was commenting.
Try to stick the landing.
You hit me.
You know,
See.
go out strong.
See. What in the Jon Snow is going on?
These are the things I can't say on my channel. This is fun.
Well, chat, do you want a man that goes down on you like Rhaegar? Put a guitar in the chat. If you want the thrust.
I said what I said. He'd rather be famous instead.
Don't mind me. I'll just paint the town red. Chat, what will it be? Rhaegar RTA pussy better. What's going on?
I wouldn't be worried about getting canceled, and Tim has one. He's like 5 up to me. Like I'm way more worried about Tim getting canceled after this. So I'm just trying to provide some cover for all the hideous things that he has said.
Devoted to Mariah. I love you. I've been reading all your comments. You're funny.
Oh, she's awesome. She's the best. Yeah, the best.
I'm screaming at the stream. I'm screaming too.
She's good.
I think that Rhaegar probably has a slight edge here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't feel bad at all, but it is kind of boring.
I think Rhaegar and Daemon might just fuck each other. I mean, let's be honest. You know?
That's why this stream is so fun, because it's Targaryen versus Targaryen. It's close on so many levels.
Daemon would be a little. Daemon seems to have a weird thing where, like, I don't know, like the way that the Rhea Roy stuff is a red flag to me. Like, it's like, oh, what, you have a problem with strong women or something? Like,
yeah,
we did.
Like Rhaenyra's strong, but she's way younger than him, and it's just. I don't know.
You missed my speculation earlier, David. But before the stream started, I was saying that I actually think that Oberyn would be is more of the deliberate parallel with Daemon. If a lot of the symbolism of the second dance is actually about Queen Myrcella versus Princess Arianne, and she has that. You know, he is literally her rogue prince uncle who's sex positive that she has feelings for, and
Yeah,
you know,
I can see
she's
that. I can
pushing
see
the
that.
claim of the queen. She's pushing the claim of the Queen Myrcella, even though she's going to probably marry Aegon, right? So you've got this sort of backward situation of
I like that, Rich.
anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought that
Well, the
as long as
Oberyn
we're
Daemon comp is like, I mean, it feels right just at a basic level. You could tell
yeah,
it's
yeah.
there.
That might be a
Well.
future debate, Oberyn versus Damon.
I want to highlight this. The comments that Rhea fucks her guys with strap-ons. Like, no, that's what Visenya did to Aegon. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I
He
feel like
was
a
not
real man.
into it.
I feel like a real man doesn't have a type. Like you should be able, for lack of better words, to be able to conquer any type of woman, you know? And so
If Daemon had let Rhea tie him up, he probably would have liked it. If
That's
he
my
had been able
thing,
to
like,
give into it. But
what was wrong with Rhea? Especially when we saw her in the show, everyone was like, what's wrong with her? She's not ugly. She's funny. She can write, like, you know, like, what's wrong with her, Damon?
He just didn't like her. Didn't like her personality, and that's valid.
Next question. Which man has the better story? All right, chat. Which man has the better story? Is it us this time?
It should be Nettles because David went first
Nettles,
on 2 questions
Well, we're
ago.
making up, so David's gonna go first again.
Okay.
Because I went. Remember, I went
Okay,
first twice.
cool. Yeah, like I said, always ready. So, on one hand, we have. Oh, let me know. Okay, we got tragic Prince Charming, a tragic Prince Charming type who solves the prophecy riddle, has a magic hero baby while also trying to sort out the kingdom and overcome his insane and cruel father, while also shielding a young woman from her abusive betrothed, dies tragically but still succeeds in saving the world. Or angry dragon man murders wife, nephews, abandons first ruling queen of Westeros, throws away his life for one last vengeance, and then leaves his house in ruins with almost no dragons. Which story is better? I take your pick. Depends on what you like, I suppose. Rhaegar is more like us. He's trying to solve the mystery of the White Walkers and the Red Comet. He's loving Westeros's finest babes like we all do. And Daemon is more like the angry people on Twitter, consumed by grudges and always complaining. 10 years.
10 years. You remember that Travis Kelce meme? 10 years.
The one from last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Funny.
No, the 10 years one was the best one. I don't think that was just because Verizon. That was the best version of that.
It was because his mouth was shake, like, yeah.
No, I died.
All right, Tim. Why does Rhaegar have the better story? And your time starts now.
Sabotage.
No. What we have here is the story of little emo boy reads a fairy tale that he found, looks at it and says, "This is me. I have to do this." And goes out in the world with pie in the sky dreams, guided by a prophecy that he has no way of proving. It's just something he read. Daemon did not need prophecy to guide him in every action he did. He was a man of action. Everything he did, his driving force came from something internal. And he did not have the idea that he was the hero of his own story. Daemon prepped. Daemon knew that he could lose. Daemon lived his life knowing that he could die at any moment. Rhaegar did not. Rhaegar went out into the world, fought this rebellion, thinking that victory was a given. And he lost. Rhaegar fought valiantly. Rhaegar died.
And time. Sounds horrible. Okay. All right. Which man has the better story? So Rhaegar is so versatile, he could fit into all 12 stereotypes of the Zodiacs. He's intense and passionate like a Scorpio. He has the duality of a Gemini. He has the stubborn righteousness of a Taurus. He's in his feelings and crying all the time like a Cancer. What this means is that he is universal. His story is universal. He can relate to anyone. 100% of the world population right now has no dragon. They can't truly relate to the feeling of the wind blowing in your hair as a hot beast roars in between your legs. Sorry, we cannot. But we can relate to loving someone and finding another love to love. We can relate to toxic parents. We can relate to the pull of destiny versus our own desires. We can relate to being a bookworm and then changing gears and getting into our gym era. We can relate to feeling lonely, and we can relate to feeling melancholy. So Rhaegar has the better story. All right, Rich,
it's my time.
your time starts now.
Rhaegar's primary role in the story is to create unrest by naming Lyanna and then buggering off and committing a dereliction of duty. He then finally comes back and loses. Meanwhile, Daemon is the climax of the story with an amazing ending that is the climax of the story, right? It's a triumphant ending versus losing. It's clearly the better story. You want that amazing ending, and Rhaegar is just the beginning of somebody else's story. He's not a story by himself. He's not sufficient to be a story. I yield back the remainder of my time.
Perfect. Maester of Tinfoil says, Tim, is your cat a torty? This will affect my vote.
Okay, so people have been asking. Okay, so this is
Hold on, let me put you.
This is Cassie. This is Casilda, the new cat. She's the one that appears on stream least often. Okay.
She's shy.
She's not as social as Daemon is, but she's a calico.
I was sitting here watching one of my dogs licking the other dog's eye while you guys were talking.
All right, losers. Who has a rebuttal? You have a rebuttal?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay.
Of course I do. We've heard
We've heard a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah, we've
and
heard
your time starts
some interesting stuff.
now.
Daemon, he didn't need prophecy to tell him what to do. He had just something inside him that told him to send blood and cheese to murder his child nephews. Like, he didn't need prophecy. You know, he has a messed up moral compass and a ball of hate and vengeance to guide him. That's a great story. Daemon's story, in all honesty, is pretty frustrating because he continually does the wrong thing and sort of self-sabotages, both with Viserys and Rhaenyra. And it's like, it's a good story, but it's very frustrating and tragic, and nothing comes out of his death except for that the two most powerful Targaryen dragons both die, which isn't a good thing, by the way. Okay?
Damn.
Like, neither side really wins. All the people that are left alive, all the children left alive are crippled and broken. Rhaegar's death was tragic and sacrificial and paved the way to one of the saviors of the world being born. Again, he secured Lyanna and baby Jon at the Tower of Joy before he went off and died heroically and tragically.
And time. Terra Incognita says, I like how the people arguing for Daemon keep telling Rhaegar's story. Ooh, damn. Carl Karsnark says, lonely, melancholy. What? Melancholy. Why am I saying colony? Oh my God, Tim. Oh my God, Tim is going to win. He's playing dirty. I don't like this one. Snap. Rhaegar is a star of someone else's story. No, bitch. Rhaegar lived a full and fruitful life. All right, bitch. That is the crown
Tim
prince.
doesn't
Don't
even
you
smile.
ever.
He's all knives. Tim is straight daggers.
Ash says, Tim is king. That's
He
not
is.
my king.
Tim is our king. He is.
I love Tim. I love Tim.
No, I'm Lord of the Grey Waste, which meant I had a shot at Good Queen Alley back in the day. Don't forget.
Edward Martin says, love seeing this side of all you guys. The best, no doubt. Thank you, Edward Martin. You are awesome. Damn, if there's anyone loyal to the fandom, it's Edward.
So what was the count?
So
Sorry. I was supposed to be counting.
Richard, do your job. All right.
Darn it.
All right, chat.
Totally
It's
forgot.
time to start voting. Which man has the better story, Daemon or Rhaegar? Literary Paracosm says, revenge is best served cold. Don't fuck around and you won't have to find out. Blood and cheese was deserved. Damn. That's not very American.
One of the things that
Wait a
really
minute.
crazy
Did Violet
about
just vote for
Rhaegar's
both?
story is that he died. He was only 23 when he died. Like, such a short life. Really.
Very short.
the worms are catching up.
It's literally like, imagine like you lived your life, went to prom, applied to college, and then that's it.
Like you graduate and get your first job, and then
That's
I think we're still. We might still be one or two short. Let's see here. Even though we had a nice run there at the end.
I don't really care who wins.
I don't
I'm
know.
just
Someone-
have fun making the argument.
Violet Dragon, you can't vote both. You can't write a T and an F. For your
I know. That's what I said. I already commented on that one.
I'm getting more and more saucy. Don't make it hard for us. Just vote once.
He's a cold-hearted snake.
Is it tied? I think it might be tied.
If it's tied, just give each of us a point.
All right.
And let's move on to question 10.
Well, then I guess Violet, congratulations. Your vote was actually the correct
tiebreaker?
Apparently. No, Violet voted both. Literally in the same comment, voted both.
No, well, they both do have good stories, and they're different. That's what's interesting is that they're different kinds of stories, and they're both compelling for different reasons.
That's why I'm saying to base it on the argument,
All right.
because honestly, every single
We'll
one of
call
these
it-
questions
Oh, well, we
can
made
put it
better
either or.
arguments. I mean, come on.
We'll call it a half
Yeah.
a point each.
That's what I'm saying, based on our better arguments, not about whose stories we better.
No, it's tough. Tim's tough.
All right.
He's tough. Richard's
Anyway.
tough too, without any preparation. Let's remind everyone, Richard flying blind here and winging it and coming real strong. So nice job.
Thank you.
Yes. So what is it,
All
a
right, so
tie?
yeah, I think we called it a tie, right?
Cool.
Sorry,
One,
I'm
two,
not paying
three.
attention.
I took a dab at like 9:00 this morning and like wrote this all out. I'm prepared.
Yes, the best way to write it up.
I wrote nothing. Everything I'm saying is coming right off the top of my head.
You're lying. I've seen you look to your right the whole time.
You're not even
Because
looking at us
I
when
have
you
the
talk.
I have the questions up on the second screen just so I know what questions.
You're reading. Shut up.
Nope. All that's on my second
Anyway,
screen
who does
is
the
just-
realm need
all that's on
more?
my second screen is Nettles' Twitter message.
All right.
Who does the realm need
Question
more?
10.
I only made
Listen,
little
Tim,
bullet points.
a loss is a loss, Tim. Don't be making no damn excuses. Don't make Question 10. Who does the realm need more? Does the realm need the man who ended the dance by killing Aemon, or the man who fathered the savior? Who does the realm need more? So it's definitely y'all this time. Right, Tim?
Yeah, Tim's first.
All right.
All right. Who does the realm need more? Your time starts now.
Well, the realm needs Daemon. Because Daemon is a man of action. When you are carrying on, in Daemon's time, when you are at the peak of peace and prosperity, but then something comes floating along, like some shitmouth king calling himself Aegon II, that's when you need someone to step in and give that little brat a spanking. You can't let that kid be running mouth. You need to know that things were done. My brother made a decision. He declared Rhaenyra to be his successor, and we're going to see this through. You also don't. Sorry. You also. I thought.
Richard, mute your mic, Richard.
Did I cut out?
Sorry, I was
No,
trying to.
Richard.
No, I was trying to put away my headset because it's. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
hear
it
you.
sounded. Sorry, it sounded like something fell on my end.
I took off my headset because the battery was getting low.
Okay.
Okay, that was loud. It sounded like Armageddon. But
About that.
Tim, keep going.
Yeah, finish
All right.
your argument.
You also don't allow things to fester the way that Rhaegar and his father did with Robert's rebellion. You know that, and the way that Viserys did, which is, again, Daemon needing to provide corrective action to a do-nothing king in taking on the Stepstones. Those shipping lanes were vital and important. It would only have been a matter. Now, yes, Corlys is the one that is making the call for this, but it only would have been a matter of time before Duskendale, Gulltown, White Harbor, every port town would have been sending representatives to yell at Viserys for not taking care of this, because the Triarchy is stepping on everyone's toes. Daemon recognizes that this is a problem, and he's the one who take the action to put this, to snip it, to nip it in the bud. That is not something that Rhaegar would have done when he allowed Robert and his rebels to gain more ground than they ever should have had.
All right, time. Enough of that. You want to go?
Ready?
Wait. No, it's my turn because
It
you
is
went.
your turn, but I'm
It's my
still ready.
All right, mine's short. Short and sweet. Here we go. Who does the realm need more? The realm needs Rhaegar more. What the realm needs most is safety. Rhaegar has no dragon and therefore leaves less of a bloody footprint. What the realm needs most is a level-headed leader. Daemon is too spontaneous. And being spontaneous is cute and quirky for a date, but it's not a good quality for a leader. It's dangerous quality for a leader. We need to be able to predict what you're going to do so that we can build around what you're going to do. What the realm needs most is the prince who was promised. And that's what Rhaegar gives to the realm. I yield my time. Let me get the other one. All right. And your time starts now.
Well, if we're going to give credit for fathering people, well, the line has to come through Daemon as well. So I feel like that's somewhat of a wash. But who's to say that if Aemon hadn't been killed, that he might have ended the line before it got to this point? So if anything, it may be that the actions that were taken as far as the man who ended the dance by killing Aemon, that may have actually been just as critical. As a counterfactual, we can't really know, but it sure seems likely. In terms of handling those two events, I feel like Rhaegar could have done a much better job in terms of providing for the safety of his offspring than he did. I get that Daemon isn't exactly perfect there either, but in terms of I feel like he really did try to do what he needed to do, whereas Rhaegar, as I keep saying, was somewhat was somewhat derelict in his duties. He kind of buggered out when he was most needed.
Okay.
All right. Let's sort a few things out. Flip that thing over.
Boom.
All right. So, first of all, if we're just talking about ultimately having dragons around to fight the long night, obviously Rhaegar did more to prepare for that. Daemon did the opposite. Daemon was a big part in Civil War, which killed off most of the Targaryen dragons. If we're talking about who's the better political ruler or leader, like if you were the king, who would you want as prince or something like that? Or who would the realm want as king? I think Rhaegar checks out, again, because he's more of a balanced person. He knows how to be martial. He knows how to go to war, but he's also thoughtful and consulting prophecy and thinking about the most important thing, which is the White Walkers. We don't have any evidence that Daemon ever thought about the White Walkers. So Rhaegar was 23 and his father was crazy. So put yourself in his position. He's not even king. He's just the prince. How quickly exactly is he supposed to peaceably depose his father, gather support, and do all that, launch a coup? Guy's 23, was already working on it, and he gets blamed for Aerys' racism and mistakes.
And time. Rich. All right. Who does the realm need more, Rich? And your time starts. Huh?
Right. All four of us went. It's time for
rebuttal.
That's
Rebuttal
my
time.
bad. Do you have a rebuttal or does Tim?
I have a rebuttal.
All right, then go with Tim then.
All right. And your time starts now.
All right, because I'm looking at chat and I'm seeing everyone saying, without Rhaegar, there is no story. But without Daemon, there is no Rhaegar. As Rich pointed out, after the dance is over, every Targaryen king, from Aegon III up to the Mad King, every single one, for better for worse, is a direct descendant of Daemon. They are his children, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren, and so on. Without Daemon, there is no Rhaegar. Rhaegar is a direct descendant of those nuts, okay? So if you're going to go on the prince that was promised prophecy, then you need Daemon, because Daemon is the granddaddy of it all. Okay, it's his line that's going to directly lead to the prince that was promised. When the ghost of Highheart shows up and says, "Oh, the prince that will promise will come through the line of Aerys and Rhaella," the asterisk that's missing there is this is just a continuation of Daemon's line, by the way. Without Daemon, no Rhaegar. Without Daemon, no Jon, no Dany. I mean,
And time.
Yep.
So, Tim, what were you looking at right now? What were you looking at when you were reading? Nothing. Nothing. I thought you had notes prepared.
No, I have no notes prepared. I'm just not looking directly at my camera because it's above me.
Oh, okay. Dave, do you have a rebuttal? I don't.
What was I gonna say?
About
Just like if we're gonna say that they both the bloodline passed through both, then that's a wash. But Rhaegar intentionally was trying to think about the prince that was promised, prophecy where Daemon was not. So he gets more credit for doing that, and it was his child that ended up being the prince that was promised.
And he choked Rhaenyra just hearing about a prophecy. He didn't even hear the whole thing. Just the idea of a prophecy meant that he choked Rhaenyra for that.
The question is a little bit nebulous.
It's not the idea of
With that Maester propaganda show again.
Well, the thing
I'm
is,
just saying,
if we're going based on that moment in the show, it's not prophecy that drove him to anger. It's the fact that Viserys didn't share it with him.
didn't share the prophecy with him.
Daemon's not.
He wasn't mad that Viserys didn't share the nuclear codes. Viserys didn't share the hand of Master of Coin. It was specifically the prophecy. He was mad about the prophecy.
Tim could spend all day defending Daemon's abuse. Okay, we don't have time for that. Let's count up the votes here.
No, because like Daemon was not party to the prophecy.
Are we calling it? What are the comments or not?
How could he be ignoring something that he never knew was a thing to begin with when no one ever told him about it?
Well, that's fair, but nevertheless, Rhaegar was thinking about it and doing stuff about it, whereas Daemon doesn't. We don't really know, to be honest. We don't. The show is filling in the blanks. In all fairness, like Fire and Blood doesn't tell us. We don't know.
Because the whole Aegon prophecy
Tim,
thing
I'm gonna
is
let you
something
talk.
Right, DM Collins. That's my point.
I'm gonna let you talk, but the chat, please start voting whether you think Rhaegar or Daemon, who the realm needs more. And we'll start counting after Clover Azar's post. It says, but isn't that a point against him? So anything after that, we'll start the count. But Tim, please keep going.
Okay, so yeah, just speaking seriously, when we're looking at the show as canon, Aegon's prophecy is not something that George put in the books, but he did want to put in the show. I'm guessing it was probably a missed detail that he realized, oh crap, this is more important than I actually thought it was. So I better, force this into the show to get it.
I don't know, Tim. Well, what about all that stuff that Egg talks about, where he's like his, my uncle Daeron is reading prophecy, or Daeron I forget it's Aerys the First is king, but he talks about Daeron the Dreamer, his brother, and his king, his uncle, talking about all that stuff. It sounded like they were talking about Aegon's prophecy.
So if you want to have like a serious discussion, this is part of something I was thinking of. When is the prophecy, Aegon's prophecy, when does it stop being passed down from king to successor? And does it get lost in the shuffle after the dance, and who rediscovers it? I actually think that the period in between the dance up until Aerys the First and Bloodraven becoming hand is probably the time where this wasn't lost. Like, I don't think Aegon the Third and Viserys the Second had the knowledge, and that's probably why we don't see, like, when the question becomes like, oh, if this prophecy is so important, how come they weren't doing anything to prepare for the White Walkers? Well, that probably means that the knowledge was lost. And then Aerys the First is probably the one to rediscover it with these scrolls that he's reading. And
that's what I think.
And then the reasoning behind why does
Aerys, you mean?
The first Aerys. And then the reasoning behind why
does the uncle that Egg is talking about in the passage I meant. Yeah.
So the reasoning behind why Aerys the First didn't have kids. Well, one, it could be because he was Ace, or two, but also it could be him realizing, oh, this isn't me. It's not going to come from my line. I need to make sure that the line gets in charge. And that's when we start seeing.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, that's when we start seeing the pruning of the Targaryen family tree, because a lot of people have to die to get Egg on the throne.
So just real quick, I have just started wondering if it's lost in the war here that we're watching, okay?
Yeah, lost in the shot.
I wonder if the important thing isn't Jace mentioning it at Winterfell to the Starks before he dies. I wonder if that will be important.
Yeah.
I do. Tim, asexual Aries, that's just how I remember him in my head. Like, I think he is important to the end game, but I think Dave has it on, like, I think the show is going to show us where it ends. And I don't think we're going to see Aries on the show.
No.
I guess
if we got
might see
Blackfire
Aegon 3.
Yeah, I think
we're-
Bloodraven and Ares and all those folks, they're working on.
I'm just saying, I feel like the prophecy got lost somewhere in transition, and Ares,
I think it got lost at the end of the dance, is what I'm saying.
Aemon and Rhaegar talking about it. It seems like so.
Because it'd be symbolic and prophetic for the dance to not only symbolize the dying of the dragons, but the dying of
knowledge,
prophecy,
Yeah,
of the most important stuff. All right, next question. Wait, who won that last one?
Oh yeah, we didn't count the votes.
See, we all actually like each other. We can talk like normal
Rich.
people. We can talk like normal people, not MSNBC hosts.
That's why we need to run this fucking country. I'm not fucking kidding. Like, I'm comfortable with this.
I don't want to be in charge of anything.
No.
Now you sound like Jon Snow. I don't want it. But it doesn't
don't.
matter if you want it or not. It matters if your brain functions at a level where you can form good
I just
opinions.
want to criticize people who make decisions. That's all. I'll be honest.
So
You
Tim went
don't
first.
want to criticize them. It's because they are moving in a way that makes you criticize them. But anyway,
The point went to Rhaegar, but on for 11, it's going to be you should probably go first because you let David go first the last 2 times, and it's Stream's turn to go first.
is it my turn? I'll go first.
Yeah.
Question 11. That's not me. That's
No, that's not you.
who-
this is me.
I'm guessing
Okay.
Rhaegar won that round. Did we?
Yeah.
Rhaegar won that round.
Did we even
Tim.
count?
It's like
Tim, are
10 to
you
3
okay?
something like that.
Okay.
Tim, I want to check on Tim. Tim,
Mhm.
you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Rhaegar won another one. Question 11. This is going to be short for me. Which man is a better friend? Meaning, which of these men would you want as your friend? Okay. Which man is a better friend? And my time starts now. All of Daemon's friends were beheaded or killed on sight. Do you know what that means? That means your association with Daemon caused your death. Whether it was before the dance, during the dance, or after the dance, there was no mercy. Let's look at Rhaegar's friends. Barristan Selmy, Pardon, Alistair Thor. Like, hey, anybody who was associated with Rhaegar was not met with the same disapproval, I guess we'll say, that Daemon's friends were met with. And that just shows you who's a better friend. Because if you want to look at me to tell me who I am, look at my fucking friends, okay? So Rhaegar's aura reached over and surrounded them, his friends that were the survivors, and protected them. Even when Rhaegar was the enemy, it's hard to hate on Rhaegar and Rhaegar loyalists. So who's the better friend to have at the end of the day who's not going to get you killed? It's going to be my buddy Rhaegar, and I yield my time. All right, Tim.
All right.
Which man is the better friend? Your time starts now.
I would say that Daemon is the better friend. Rhaegar is too flighty. Rhaegar reminds me of the type of person who has 1,000 friends on Facebook, but how well do they really know him? And how well does he really know them? Daemon seems like the type where if you get to know him, you know what you're dealing with. You know he's for real. You don't have to worry about that flightiness. It's a quality versus quantity idea when it comes to the friendships of Daemon and Rhaegar, because with Rhaegar, you have someone like Jon Connington, and Rhaegar gives him that throwaway line of, "Oh, your lands are beautiful." The reality is Rhaegar's not even noticing. He doesn't even notice Jon Con when Jon Con is standing right in front of him. He doesn't see him. Daemon sees you. Now, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what his opinion is of you, but at least he has an opinion. And I would rather know for sure that someone hates me or likes me than be constantly left guessing.
Time. And that's your time, loser. All right, and your time starts. Which man is a better friend now?
So I won't waste a lot of time making the point that Daemon had no friends. It's more a question of why didn't he have any friends? It's probably because he just didn't consider anyone to be his equal except for other dragon riders. And so he just seems to have been pretty much aloof to everyone. Rhaegar's friends, however, are like an all-star cast. Arthur Dayne, the greatest knight of Westeros, Miles Mouton, Richard Lonmouth, John Connington, who absolutely did notice. John Connington is... Nobody has sacrificed more for Rhaegar than John Connington. So let's not pretend that he's never acted like his friend or done something to earn that loyalty. They were probably banging. Rhaegar shared his vision with his friends, and he trusted his friends. Who does Daemon trust? And without trust, you can't build friendship. And this is kind of my point. Like, Daemon is aloof, and the only one that really could have been his friend is like Viserys. Or maybe Corlys. I don't know. We don't know what their dynamic was like, but nothing is written of it. So
In time. But I get your point. That was a good friend.
I don't know if John Connington and Rhaegar were really banging. It was just fun to say. We
It
have
was
no
fun
idea.
to say.
But he is
That's
loyal
why-
to
that's
him.
why we're
so.
here. We're gonna explore all aspects of the Rhaegar universe and the Daemon universe. We're here. Rich, you're here, and I love you for being here. And your time starts now.
Well, to emphasize what Tim said, Barristan even tells us that nobody knew Rhaegar. And Tim's point is, if what we've seen of the flashbacks is their best moment together, then Rhaegar wasn't really that great of a friend. This loyalty seems pretty one-sided, much like his first wife. The loyalty was one-sided. If Rhaegar abandoned his wife, what makes you think he wouldn't abandon you? Whereas Daemon is a fun guy, right? We know how much the commoners loved him, the gold cloaks, and so it sure seems like he was capable of actually building friendships with commoners, with the scum of the earth, if they perhaps, but they had a lot of fun together, and so Daemon would be more fun and is less likely to abandon you.
He filled a wagon with their chopped off body parts.
Those were the ones that deserved it.
Maybe.
Rich, the doctor says, Rich, you got this, King.
So
You
I
got
can see
this,
a cop or a
King.
man of the people. Not both.
That's it, right? That's the fourth one you want to do.
Time for rebuttals. Dave, you
Yes.
got one?
I was already
Yes,
going.
Nikki,
Yeah.
this is Daemon I am stroking, literally and physically.
Oh, here you guys go. This is Daemon, the lick-spittle traitor.
Nettles,
insect.
you can rebut if you want to.
I don't have one for this one.
Okay,
You
I'll
have
just
one?
okay, just real quick. Then yeah.
Let's see what Tim says, and then we'll see if we want to. Which of us will go?
That's your rebuttal now. I just finished. It's your rebuttal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My rebuttal?
Tim,
Yeah.
Tim already went.
it's finished.
I thought it was Tim's rebuttal. Okay,
No, it's one of you to rebuttal.
my
Yeah,
rebuttal.
Tim and everybody's gone.
No, if you don't want to use your rebuttal, that's fine. But
No.
You guys,
Damon-
I need y'all's help. Okay,
Damon
so
the
this
cat
is good.
showed up and everyone got confused.
The cat cast a spell on
We need to
us.
keep moving, to be honest. Let's just vote.
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
go. I don't need a rebuttal.
We made
well,
our points. Yeah, I don't need to
well,
repeat
if you
myself.
guys have passed your rebuttal, but Tim, did you want to say something?
Just say it
No,
here.
I'm proposing that we all give up our rebuttals and vote because we have like
No
8
rebuttals, all right.
questions
No more
and it's been 2 hours and I need to fucking go.
Time is
Yeah.
short.
So let's
vote.
keep
Yeah.
it moving.
We got a lot.
The rebuttal is a choice. You don't always need it. Sometimes your point is already made.
Yeah.
So I think my point was already made. That's why I don't have one.
So
The chat's already voting.
1, 2,
We have 1,
Unless there's
42 right
something
now.
good
2,
in the
3
chat.
guitars.
and
1.
5 worms,
I see 4 ones.
4 guitars,
No, you're right.
6. Fuck all. of you.
Yeah. To make that clear, you don't have to rebuttal.
We were winning for a second.
All
Darn
right, fine. Rhaegar got it. 7
Darn
to
it.
The better friend is Rhaegar. Surprise, surprise.
I really do think it counts for something that he
All
seems
right.
to have consulted with all of his friends about the prophecy. Like he wasn't secretive and manipulative. Like he's sitting there with Elia and Dany's vision talking about his is the song of ice and fire and there needs to be 3 because 3 heads has the dragon and blah blah blah. Like
I mean, if you want us to be honest, sure, but we were trying to make our points, right?
oh no, yeah, I'm just saying I just think that's very interesting about Rhaegar, that's all.
Yes.
Like Arthur Dane probably knew everything, probably Ashara too, Lyanna.
All right. Well, you guys got the point, so let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Question 12. Let it be known that Rhaegar got that
It's time
point.
to go first.
Question 12 is, which man would you choose to fight beside you during the long night? Who would be more helpful to the cause? We could skip this one if you guys think that it bleeds over into one.
The man with a dragon and a Valyrian steel sword is going to be the most helpful. Let's be honest. Let's be real.
I'm just saying, if we vote to skip this,
we can move on. I had one good joke from my notes that I want to tell, and that's all.
Let's hear. Listen, we're here for the jokes.
So I was going to say, if you need someone to sort of run away, far away from the battlefield and just like shack up with a woman during the war, the Rhaegar is your man. I got that.
Hey.
But no, Daemon probably would be handy in the long night battle, unless he went rogue and just sort of was counterproductive. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, we're skipping 12, but
We're going to skip 13? Or not? You want to
let's
do
go
13?
to 13. Sorry, Tim, were you saying something?
I was going to say, I think 13, the answer is neither one of them.
Oh, it's
I actually like this one. This one I want to do.
Rhaegar lives on my couch. She exists in the modern world.
Let's do it.
Rhaegar knows about Lord VPN and Magic Spoon and stuff.
All right, chat. Question 13. Which man would better fit into 2022? Which man would better fit into, what did I say? What year is this? Which man would better fit into 2024? That is the question. Which man would better fit into today's time, 2024?
It's Tim's turn to go first.
All right, Tim. And your time starts now.
See, I made peace that I can't argue for Daemon in this one, so I'm just going to argue from the point that neither one of them would survive in today's modern day sensibilities, not without some kind of massive adjustment period to know what flies and doesn't fly. But I feel that even with that, Rhaegar would be sliding into the DMs of every underage girl he thinks could fulfill his prophecy, and Daemon would be the type of guy charging $5,000 for educational seminars on how to be a Sigma male. I don't think either one of them would survive in the current day.
Ooh, Daemon's like toxic male YouTube channel has a lot of subscribers. You should write about that.
Thank you.
Red pill.
So are we really doing, is this just a joke here, or are we really debating this one? I feel like this
we're debating it. No, it's Tim's time. Go ahead, Tim.
Well, then it's my turn then. Flip that thing over.
I said I yielded.
You yielded it? All right, cool. Yeah. All right, your time starts now.
Okay, so besides the fact that Rhaegar is clearly a good pitch man. I mean, Rhaegar in the modern world is the backbone of my entire advertising marketing technique. But that aside, killing nephews is frowned upon in the modern world. So there's that. I kind of can picture Rhaegar at a harp. Like if Rhaegar brings his harp to a party, the party gets better. Okay. If Daemon shows up to the party, he's the guy that comes late. He's already drunk. Like it's time to go. Like, oh, that guy's going to start a fight. We better go, babe. Like it's time to go. So that's my joke. That's all I got.
Yeah. It's not a joke. It's real life. This is what we're going through.
I think that's pretty fair, to be honest. It is time to go.
All right. Rich, your time starts now.
All right. Well, you've already mentioned that if Andrew Tate can succeed in the modern world, that sort of clearly that Daemon could. But so Rhaegar is highborn. I don't think he could succeed in the modern world. Whereas Daemon is used to hanging out with lowborn scum. So he could learn to adapt. Whereas the prince who's always been spoiled his whole life, I don't think he could survive. So clearly Daemon would fit better into the modern world. And I yield back the remainder of my time.
Squisher King says Daemon will be running an alpha male podcast and selling crypto scams in 2024.
That could be very successful. That could be very successful in the modern world.
I put down that he'd be selling drugs to underage kids at the party also.
Damn. But that's the coolest guy in the room. Listen.
He's not checking IDs. He's like, oh, I got sheets.
I'm thankful for men like that. My underage self was very thankful. Listen, The way I partied, I have no regrets. Listen, I have no horror stories from my party days. All right. Which man would fit better into 2024? This is going to be quick. Some of you call Rhaegar a snowflake, and that just shows how easily he would fit into our time. He respects women. Check. He reads books. Check. He works out. Check. What more do you need? He's a Renaissance man for 2024, and I yield my time. Any rebuttals?
Puppy.
Oh,
Puppy has rebuttal.
surprise, surprise. Tim has a rebuttal.
Karsnark said Daemon, World Star Targaryen. World Star hip hop.
Ah! Boo, 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 boo. All right, Tim, your time starts now.
I had no rebuttal. I thought
I thought you talked. Okay.
No, I said dog.
Skip
I
it
said
then.
puppy, and that was it.
That's
There was
fine.
a dog on screen, and I just commented.
I don't think
on
we
that.
need a rebuttal. I think the chat can decide.
Let's move on.
So we'll
That's
start
fine.
counting after Chris H. I vote Rhaegar and Daemon. So after that comment, all the votes will start. So guitar for Rhaegar and the worm for Daemon. Which man would fit better into 2024? I said 2022. That was crazy. That was
I mean, just look at
Yeah,
this.
Susan, I read Merle
Look at
Ozzy.
the
That's correct.
symbols we're using here. One man is symbolized. It so easily translates into modern parlance that we could just use a guitar for him.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a good, yeah.
Look, let's be honest. This is a vote between a man who's slightly problematic versus a guy who's very problematic. That's the 2024 thing.
Listen, I'm Team Rhaegar all the way. We're gonna win this shit.
So you're
But
saying that they're running for president? Is that what you're saying?
I think the Andrew
Problematic
Tate
isn't
argument is
problematic.
actually the strongest. In that sense, Damon is like very modern. Like I can't argue with that.
Rich, what do we have?
It's pretty overwhelmingly for Rhaegar.
Oh my god, what a surprise! I didn't think I would win. I didn't think I would win.
Hey, when we
All right.
when we did the when we were at the con, you when I was your partner, you made us do all the people that nobody liked.
I know. We that's because we're so smart. We had the hard job.
That's what you got to do when you're new, Richard. You gotta pay your dues.
I feel like that question was written for all of us to workshop our best jokes.
Hey, Tim, all these questions are written for us to workshop our best jokes.
Yeah, congratulations for understanding the assignment.
Question 14, and another joke. Which man had the better death? And think about the deaths. Think like chat. I want you to think about
Davidson?
Daemon's death and think about Rhaegar's
Yeah,
death.
this is
They're
good.
very similar.
So yeah, this is part of it's part of the reason why they're good comparisons. Yeah,
They're
it's my
very.
turn, right?
Mhm.
It's so fucking close. It's so fucking close. Whose team is first? I guess
I
it's
think
y'all.
it's
David's first.
And
David's
me.
first.
Them, us.
David.
He said it like 5 times. It's our turn and my turn.
All right, Tim. Here you go.
No,
What? What? Is it David's turn? Fine, whatever. I need help. I said I need help.
He said it like 5
Right.
times. He said it over and over again. That's why it's funny. It's okay. Let's go.
Which man had the better death, chat? Which man had the better death? And your time starts now.
So, first of all, these are the best 2 deaths, like in Ice and Fire. They're 2 of the most drawn scenes in Ice and Fire. So, it's definitely Clash of the Titans here. However, Rhaegar dies with words of love on his lips, whereas Daemon dies in an act of hate and kinslaying. So, to me, that is a big difference. Rhaegar's death effectively renamed a ford of the Trident, and people are still looking for his rubies. That's pretty cool. Daemon might not have even died. So say Gray Area and others. I don't actually buy that theory, and if he didn't die, then he didn't have a good death because he didn't die. Rhaegar, his death was part of the sacrifice that enabled the prince that was promised to be born. So I just think that makes it greater also.
Okay. Tim,
All right.
and your time starts now.
All right, chat, for this one, you got to put yourself in the shoes of both Daemon and Rhaegar and think, how would you want to go out? Would you rather go out riding a dragon, jumping straight from it, bringing down a Valyrian steel sword, bringing it through the skull of the biggest villain in your day and time, having it come out of his head and die, knowing that you took him down, that you took down the biggest dragon with him? Or do you want to be Rhaegar? Do you want to be laying in the middle of the river, looking up at the man who's about to cave in your chest with an axe? A man who looks like he pounds natty lights and then crushes the beer can against his forehead. Do you want to go out like that? I yield my time.
That was crazy, man. Okay, I need another timer for that. Which man had the better death? Rhaegar's death brought about real change. Imagine that. We've been promised it for so long. Change, change. I'm going to change this. Every politician in our real world, every king in our old world, we're going to bring about change. They never fucking do. Rhaegar did it. After his death, the world changed. The Baratheons took over. It was like a fresh new start. The new start we needed. We needed 17 years of crops being able to grow without war. We needed children being born and people getting richer to set us up for the long night. Daemon's death brought about more of the same. Targaryens in power. So who had the better death? Rhaegar. Because his death actually signified something. It was a start to something new. And versus Daemon's death, which is more of the fucking same. The blonde bitches. I yield my time. Richard, your time starts now.
Well, first off, David argued that if Daemon may not have died. Well, if Daemon didn't die there, then he has this heroic story of killing his enemy, going off with Nettles, and living with Nettles, and eventually dying of old age in love. And what could be better than that? But secondly, this is one of the most epic death in the series, right? I mean, in canon, it's the epic battle, and he is, as I said, triumphant, even if perhaps dying at the end. And it's a glorious death, whereas as Rhaegar lost, and I don't think this is very close. You're giving him credit for the victory of his opponent. Okay, that's an interesting aspect of someone's death, I suppose, but that's not what people mean by having a good death. It doesn't mean making my opponent successful because I completely lost. That's a complete loss, is what that is.
The opponent or the world?
Well, did the man have a better death? And you're basically saying, well, he lost so terribly that his opponent succeeded, and that's not what people mean by a good death.
Okay, that's your time.
Fair enough.
I've got some rebuttals. I've got things.
All right. And your rebuttal starts now.
So Daemon, when he died, again, he killed Nana Rhaegar and Caraxes with his death. So if you're only thinking about the scope of winning the war or whatever, then cool, you took out the other dragon. In the long run, he took out two of the biggest Targaryen dragons with his act. Let's talk about how he really died. How he died was he probably drowned slowly with a fractured spine. That's how he died, actually. Like, his killing of Aemon was glorious, but he died when his body hit the water, broke, and then he drowned in the river. That's not really fun or glorious. Yeah. And Rhaegar's death serves as a rallying cry because it was so noble. Again, his name can be used falsely to try to create a new king. Fagon is running under the brand of Rhaegar and nobody's doing that for Daemon. Like, his death doesn't move people or cause people to rise for him later or remember him or honor his name or anything like that. It's just cool from an action hero point. I'll give you that, but that's it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Any Rich or Tim?
I have a rebuttal.
Surprise, surprise.
All right.
All right. Your argument starts now.
Okay. So when it comes to who has the better death, let's remember whose death is actually given page time. It's Daemon's. Rhaegar's, the story starts with him already dead. His death is an afterthought. It's something other people reflect on, which goes into what Richard said before about Rhaegar is more of a character driving other people's stories, not like Daemon, who, yes, may not be a main character, maybe a side character, but is driving his own story. And as for the point of Rhaegar's name being a rallying point, so too is Daemon's. Daemon Blackfire and 6... Now, yes, that could be maybe not the rallying point that Targ supporters would support, but when you're a scheming Blackfire supporter such as myself, the name Daemon holds weight. 5 rebellions and possibly a 6th because Rhaegar's son is really a
end time. That was some really traitor shit.
I'm sorry, Nettles. The truth is shocking when he does that. He did that to me too, and it's just.
We're not doing Blackfire up in here. Like,
just get you like that.
We're not doing all that, but the chat is funny.
Daemon was the real king. He bore the sword. The king who bore the sword.
That was the second rebuttal, so it's time to call for the vote, right?
Right. DM Collins says, by LML's logic, then the French Revolution didn't kill Louis the...
No, I was just... Thank you for giving me the chance. I was just pointing out the physical means of his death because Tim brought up how they each died. And I was saying they both actually drowned in a river with broken bones. It's the same...
Yeah.
The same fucking thing.
Yeah. You're talking about autopsy? Listen,
that's all I meant.
I'm thinking of being a coroner now because I feel like I want to change my profession. And like, thinking of if you're talking about autopsy, it's probably the same death, the exact same death. So
I think the characters are one of Martin's intentional parallels. That's why we decided to do this, right? And I was like, there's a lot of comparisons. You know, they both.
It's so close. Clover Azar said Daemon got the cooler move, but Rhaegar had the better legacy. What? What was that?
I said something about how they both like younger women sometimes, you know, and they're both princes.
Happens. Listen.
Both start in the middle of wars, and
we're not commenting on that. But
I don't think we need to count very hard. Suddenly a few people have decided they better put some guitars out there.
Yes.
It was looking very one-sided there for a while.
Well, this was an uphill battle to set out with. I mean, the God's Eye thing is pretty friggin' epic, but
come on.
But the legacy argument, I think, is valid too. So I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking of that line from the show when Robert says, like, they never tell you how they shit themselves. So at least when Daemon hit the water, nobody saw him void his bowels. Whereas Rhaegar, there are witnesses to him pooping his pants at his death.
Tim's making stuff up again. Fake news.
Tim, some of us like poop. Some of us want poop on our chests.
Stop coming in, and it's moved to a tie here.
Tim sees rubies and then reads poop.
See?
I'm quoting Bobby B himself.
That's not what Bobby said.
They never tell you how they shit themselves. They don't. That part never makes it to the songs. That's what he tells Barristan.
Rich, you say it's a tie? All right. Well, I'll give some time for more votes to come in. This next question, do you guys think we should do it? Which man would you rather be? It kind of ties into which man do you think should be king. Should we skip that one?
I cosplay Rhaegar, so we don't really need to ask me my opinion.
I named my cat Daemon, so we don't need to ask me my opinion.
All right, let's do it. We can do it. We can do it.
I didn't have any points for this one, no, at all. I didn't.
You know, normally when me and Dave are on, we find ourselves agreeing each other, but this is one of our biggest contrasts. Is the Rhaegar Daemon stuff.
This has been fun, yeah.
We did have one last vote come in for Rhaegar, so I suppose
I'm going to be the moderator and just vote to skip it. You guys, everyone can talk about whatever, just really quick, like who'd they rather be? Let's just skip it. Rich, were you saying something?
One more vote came in for Rhaegar. So.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, we're at the point where it doesn't even we're
so far out of it. It doesn't even matter for points.
Yeah.
I don't think they're bothering keeping score at this point.
Well, and most of these are very close. There's only been a couple that it's like clearly one-sided, and that's the cool thing. Is like these are all we're making compelling arguments, and the people are coming down pretty split. So that's cool.
But it's like,
And I will say at this point that me, as like myself, I would choose Daemon for all of this. But Rhaegar is so well.
What are we doing, Ben?
Rhaegar is so well written that
Sometimes
He decided to be
you heard
honest.
my arguments, bitch.
My
What?
partner
Don't
just
say
said
Daemon.
that all the arguments they're making, that she doesn't really mean that much. She actually likes Daemon better. What is this?
I don't know.
Sabotage.
when
This is
you've ever-
sabotage. You're ringer, Nettles. You've been on the Damon side this whole time.
There's
Wait,
no way
stab me
that
in the
Rhaegar
back.
can lose. Rhaegar can't lose.
The sign of a good debater is when you can debate the side that you don't actually agree with. And sometimes
No, Tim. The
sometimes
sign
that's
of a good writer, Tim.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's the writer. He's
Oh,
written
no,
such good characters that, like, yeah, bitch, I'm on Damon's side, but Rhaegar
Yeah.
could get it.
well, I was mentioning this
Oh,
in
I
like an
staunched the
academic
wound.
setting.
I just cut in the back.
Like
I gotta staunch
sometimes
the
when you're
bleeding
on like
here.
a real debate team, sometimes you have to argue for the point that you don't personally agree with. That's just an academic sense.
Sure.
But that's the thing. I agree with Rhaegar. I also agree with Daemon. Okay, so we're skipping question 15, which was who'd rather be, and we're going straight into 16, which is which man is better at their job or role. So it could be their official job where they clock in, clock out, or their role in life or their role for the story. So it could be either or. And it's the loser's side. Right? Yeah.
That's actually somewhat fair, I suppose, at this point.
All right. Tim, you ready?
Yeah.
Which man is better at their job or role? And your time starts now.
I would say Damon is better at his job. He's better. He's a better leader. He's a better prince than Rhaegar was. He recognizes things for what they are. When he is given a job, when he is given something to do, he goes into it full force. And it's odd. What overshadows Daemon and all the good he could do is Otto Hightower being the wedge maker that he is and trying to prevent Daemon and Viserys from getting close. Daemon is not like a do nothing that he is made out to be. It's just that a man who hates his guts is in a high seat of power and has influence. But when we take Daemon based on his own character, based on what we see him do and what he says and how his actions follow his words, that puts him in the better role as both a leadership and when it comes to taking care of the task at hand.
End time.
Okay.
You want to go first, Dave? Or me?
Oh, sorry. I said I was ready. I was muted.
Okay, cool. All right. And your time starts now.
So I'm not really sure what Damon's job was, but if it's supporting his brother, the king, if it was supporting Rhaenyra in the war, killing wives and nephews, he's good at that, as we talked about. He's a good fascist cop, kind of, medieval cop, however you would call that. He's good at that, I guess. Let's see. It was Rhaegar's job to essentially save the world first and replace his father, if possible, second, while also defending. He's trying to defend the Targaryen dynasty while also supplant his father. It's a very tricky job that he found himself in. What's interesting is that his conscience led him through all this. Like, he doesn't just defend his father. He's trying to hold together the monarchy, fulfill the prophecy, but also figure out a way to mitigate his father. It's very tough. And I think he did a pretty good job because baby John was born and safe. So.
End time. Rich.
No one's.
Your time starts now.
Well, we talked about this. He did win his first war at the Stepstones. He as I think Tim has pointed out, he really was supporting his brother in all the different roles that he had along the way. And Rhaegar failed to replace his father. He failed. He went off to the Tower of Joy when the realm needed him. He He's practically Nero. He's fiddling as Rome's burning here. He went off to the Tower of Joy. He was a derelict in his duties. He could have been working to get rid of his father, which would have perhaps made things acceptable to the rebels and prevented the civil war. He could have helped fight right away and probably squash the rebellion right away. That would have made his children much safer than having to prevent, at least one of them from maybe two of them actually, from Robert killing them, right?
And time. That's time. Can you guys hear that dog in my yard? Whatever. All right, here we go. Which man is better at their job or role?
That's the one we just did.
So,
Yeah, it's your turn.
that's what we're doing right now. Rhaegar fit the title
No.
prince.
Nettles' turn.
Better than, huh?
Nettles' turn.
I
Correct.
got confused.
Rhaegar fit the title of prince better than Daemon. Rhaegar fit the title of brother better than Daemon. Rhaegar fit the title of martyr better than Daemon. Rhaegar fit the title of prophecy. Daemon didn't even know about no damn prophecy. Better than Daemon. So if we're talking about who is better at their job or role, it's going to be Rhaegar. He's the prince. He is the brother. He is the martyr. He is the prophecy. That's it. I yield my time. Do you have a rebuttal?
Tim, do you want to go?
I don't have anything.
I
That's all
don't. I don't have anything. I said what I said.
All right, let's go straight to the vote.
Straight to the chat. All right, let's vote. The question is, which man is better at their job or their role?
I
Let's do
have one last thing I'd like to put in, actually.
Cool. You can just talk and riff while
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's definitely, yeah. I think it's interesting that I'm a disobedient person. Like, I was born into conservative, really far right-wing Christian culture. And by the age of 15 or 16, I questioned all that and sort of found my own way. By the time I was 23, I moved to California and discovered who I was as opposed to where I was born into. So I kind of relate to Rhaegar, the whole idea that like he's the prince, but his father, the king, is getting worse and worse. And like there's a lot of signs that he was preparing to try to do something to supplant him peacefully. And it's like, how would you even go about doing that? It's the clarity of moral conscience is what I like. Like he was presented with one thing as his job, and he sort of found his way to different stuff, both supplanting his father peacefully and having the prince that was promised baby.
All right, cool. I didn't have the timer going for that one because I couldn't do my one job.
They should vote, so they've been voting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a
worm.
Yeah, it's just more of I find it interesting kind of a thing. That's all.
The worms won
All
this
right,
one.
the Worms won 6-2.
Wow. I want you, the chat, to sit with yourself and feel like you really think Daemon
Well,
did the
Daemon's
better.
very effective. Like that's a word you'd use to describe him. Like he's an effective person. It's more that like his energy wasn't always channeled in the right directions for one reason or another. So I get that.
You're gonna do it the better team.
All right, perfect. Question number 17. So chat, just so you know, after this one, just one more question left. So last two questions.
Do we have to do this penultimate question? Can we just jump to the last one?
Question 17. Who has the better team around them? Who has the better team around them?
Is that my turn or your
No,
turn?
Nettles' turn.
Huh?
Nettles' turn to go first for you guys, right?
Yeah, your turn. Yeah.
Okay, my turn. All right. And my time starts now. Rhaegar has an amazing team. It's so amazing. I don't have time. I don't have time to list them all. I'm just going to name 4. Gerald Hightower, the White Bull. Arthur Dane. The literal king of Westeros. The person who has the most power in all of Westeros. The king. That's 3. And the 4th person is Tywin Lannister. Y'all said, oh, I don't know which team Tywin Lannister's going to choose. It was only one team. Tywin was never going to go with the fucking rebels. Shut up. Y'all saw the Defiance at Duskendale. Tywin was only had one team. Shut up. So who had the better team? I don't even need to list all the team members, just 4. Gerald Hightower, who has the church and the school behind him. Arthur Dayne, a fucking prophecy baby. The king and Tywin Lannister.
I think your time is up. Yeah.
Tim.
All right.
Your time starts now.
Who has the better team? It's Daemon, because Daemon has dragons on his team, and dragons are better than people. Let's just put it out there. He's got Caraxes on his team. He's got Cyrax on his team. He's got dragon riders on his team. He has Nettles on his team, which brings Sheepstealer on his team. He has Corlys Velaryon on his team. And then we could even put this all out into the Team Black as a whole. He's got all the better families, the Starks, the Blackwoods. All the cool families are on Team Black. No, like, the hell with those with Team Green. Even the Hightowers couldn't even get the whole reach on their side. The Tyrells decided, oh, we're going to sit this one out. No. For Daemon and Rhaenyra, the North rallied, and they had a full kingdom, whereas everyone else was splintered. Daemon's got the much better team.
And time. And your time starts now.
So that was a clever move, including the dragons as team members, since he doesn't actually work with other people as team members ever, except for Nettles, who I'm not sure what that relationship is, but I don't know if teamwork is what you call that. Rhaegar does have an all-star team of friends that we talked about, the various Kingsguard and Arthur Dayne. We mentioned all that. We don't need to go over that again. What I think is interesting is that when you were listing Daemon's friends and Dragon Rider friends, you skipped over a couple people. Hard Hugh Hammer and Ulf the White, who betrayed Rhaenyra badly and turned a big battle in the war and really hurt her cause and led to her untimely death, actually. So those should be included as well if we're going to count all the dragons and dragon riders and stuff.
All right. Rich.
All right.
Time. Who has the better team around them? Your time starts now.
So if you're going to include people that weren't exactly on the side of him, who just pretended to be on the side of him, I want to remind you, the Mad King is on Rhaegar's side. The White Bull you're so proud of is the one that tells Jaime not to judge. You've got John Derry outside the door saying not from her. So the stellar Kingsguard you got there. I think Tim did a great job. I mean, the Sea Snake is a legend. The Dragon Riders that are actually on the team are great. The people who are actually on the team are great, right? And Tim
gave them their dragons, though.
Well, they're legendary Dragon Riders and dragons.
It's unfair, Richard. It's unfair to use the Kingsguard. You know, I love that argument. I think the Kingsguard are scum. Like, I can't argue with that.
You're on his side, and you think they're scum. What does that tell you?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's unfair of you to bring that up. That's why I'm interrupting you, because you've kneecapped me with this argument.
All right, your time's up, Rich. But
on the other team over, I have to win this argument.
I care more about slamming the Kingsguard than I do about winning the debate. That's the truth.
My God.
The Kingsguard are scum. They did tell Jaime that their job was to guard the door while Aerys R-worded his wife, and it's disgusting. And we should never spare the chance to heap scorn upon all of them. So I don't know if that is a decisive factor in the debate, because again, Daemon's teammates ruined their whole chance in the war by betraying them, because they didn't manage they specifically did not manage Hugh and Ulf well as team members, like Daemon and Rhaenyra. They mishandled that. So sorry,
Rich, I'll let you rebuttal without time for that. I'll let you close your argument.
I think I already addressed that one. So, Tim, do you have anything?
Yeah, just the idea of like when David said, "Well, who gave Hugh and Ulf their dragons?" Well, let's remember, nobody gives anyone a dragon. So if anything, the fault lies with Vermithor and Silverwing for choosing bad riders.
Well, but they decided.
Were they
to do
bad?
it.
They weren't bad.
Vermithor and Silverwing chose two-faced people for their riders, so the fault lies with the dragon's choice.
Or the dragons don't care.
Yeah. I don't know. Chat, this one is a little sticky. I'll leave it up to you guys. The worm for Daemon. Ill. The guitar. Oh,
Karsark.
for Rhaegar. The count will start after Carl Karstark's comment. Heap the scorn.
And I apologize for all the bird butt that's going on here. There's just nothing I can do. about it.
Listen,
That's
this
where
is
she
more
wants to
than
be.
we would. This is more than we deserve. We don't deserve this bird butt.
It is. It is.
All right.
Good girl.
2, 3.
Damn. Y'all are some fucking Daemon cum slurpers. What's going on? What's going on, chat? Think about your morals. Think about it.
Well, Tim and Richard made good arguments, including the dragons as team members. I didn't think about that, and I do think the Hugh and Ulf thing counts if you're gonna count that. But that was a good twist. And then Richard with the Kingsguard argument. I wasn't gonna say anything about that, Richard.
Y'all love dragons that much. They be killing innocent kids.
That's the thing. It's not like
They kill innocent kids. The dragons do. Yes, they do.
But that's the thing. Like we give the dragons a bit more higher intellect. Like they're not just any horse that anyone can ride, because the dragons are the one that have a
But the
choice
killing,
who the rider is.
Yeah, but
Killing?
Damon and Rhaenyra are the ones who chose to have the event and like, let's put dragons in the hands of random people and hope that they become our loyal generals. You know, it was risky and it didn't work out. And
Well,
also they mismanaged it. That's the thing. Like,
well, if we're gonna go that route,
That's if we cannot lie.
if we're gonna go that route, the biggest loser in that is Silver Dennis.
yeah, he didn't come out well.
All right. Well, I think Damon wins this one.
Damon won this one because the chat is awful.
Or because we convinced them.
Last question of the day, chat. Make it count. Question number 18. Which man would make the better king? Which man would make the better king? Daemon or Rhaegar? Last question of the day. Who's going first?
Tim.
Me? Okay.
I feel like Tim's gone first too many times, but
Well, that's because he goes first when we go, because
I
he's
know.
considered the boss.
I just hate Tim.
He goes first 50% of the time. That's how it's supposed to be.
Fine. All right, chat. You ready? Which man would make the better king? Your time starts now.
Daemon is the one who would make the better king. Daemon recognizes problems as soon as he sees them, and he immediately does action to prevent those problems from happening. He doesn't need a prophecy, something to guide him to do this, and especially not a prophecy that he has no actual time frame on. Because while we're working towards Aegon's prophecy, we got to remember this is 300 years now since the man first had his dream and conquered Westeros before it actually comes to fruition. Rhaegar had no way of knowing that. And if you're going to say that I'm making things up, well, Rhaegar had no way of knowing that it was going to be his children that were the prince that was promised. That's something that he's making himself out to be, because everyone wants to be the hero of their own story. All of it says is that when the Ghost of Highheart gives this prophecy, she says that the line
And time. You can finish your statement. Ghost of Highheart.
Yeah,
Ghost of
don't lie
Highheart
so much,
says that
Sam.
the prince that was promised will come from the line of Rhaella and
Oh.
Aerys. But that's not to say there's no way of
That's
knowing
way
how
past
these
Damon.
situations-
Ooh.
Flip that thing over. Let's go.
Way past Damon. And your time starts now. Which man would make the better king?
Okay, so the Rhaegar narcissist megalomaniac argument is silly because he was right about the prophecy, and we know he was right. So let's stop with that. Okay, he was correct. So just anyway, Daemon was called a second Maegor by people who didn't like him. His brother Viserys said Daemon was not made to sit the throne and named Rhaenyra the heir instead of Daemon. So in all fairness, Daemon is not balanced. Daemon and Viserys working together would have been balanced because Viserys has temperance and wisdom and restraint that Daemon lacks. Rhaegar seems like he may have had both. He died at 23, we don't know, but definitely more balanced and committed fewer atrocities, as in none. So I'll take Rhaegar.
Yes. All right, Rich. Your time starts.
Rhaegar King.
King Rhaegar. Rich, your time starts now.
Well, you're just echoing the Maester propaganda. So I like what Tim was saying about recognizing problems and taking action, and it goes back to what we were talking about: being a better leader, being not being derelict in your duties. But also, we mentioned in one of the previous ones that he's willing to behave dishonorably, and sometimes you need to be willing to do that. And so Rhaegar fought nobly, Rhaegar fought valiantly, or Rhaegar died, right? I mean, so Rhaegar is likely to be like Ned Stark and lose the kingdom, and that's basically what he did, right? And so one of these people will do what it takes to succeed, and one of them will fail because he will fight too honorably. So therefore, Daemon is the better king. Yield back the remainder of my time.
All right, cool. Now it's me. Which man would make the better king? Let's hear from Barristan. Barristan describes Rhaegar as the king that we choose, like someone who's not a king, but more like a president, more someone that the populace would choose, someone that the high lords and the small folk would agree on. So that's Barristan's choice. All right, let's hear from young Griff. Now, young Griff is describing someone who's not an ideology, but a real person fleshed out. Imagine someone who loves you, but knows that you don't love them, and they love you anyways. That means you're so good of a person, even though I know I will never get my sexual fulfillment from you, but I fucking love you anyways. So there's hundreds of people in Westeros, but I only chose Barristan and Connington because it shows you the ideology of Rhaegar versus who he really is, and both are good choices to be as king. So that's my time. Rebuttals, Rich, Tim. Tim, you have a rebuttal?
Yeah.
All right, here you go. And your time starts now.
My rebuttal is just because I want to dunk on Barristan a little bit. I think bringing up Barristan as a point of view in this is a bit rich, considering this was a man who went on a one-man army mission, suicide mission, to rescue a man who the world would have been better off if they had just let him die, because then Rhaegar could have succeeded to the throne naturally without the need of the tourney of Harrenhal. Barristan's greatest endeavor is probably one of the worst things for the realm. And in that same point, what's Barry doing now? Throwing a coup in Meereen, locking up Hisdar, believing that he's the Harpy without any kind of sufficient proof. Barry is a man who has made bad decisions time and time again his whole life. The only notable good we can say that Barry really did was killing Meleys the Monstrous, just to bring the War of the Five Kings to it.
Duskendale.
I just said Duskendale was a one-man army suicide mission to save a madman. They should have just let Aerys die then and there, let Tywin have his way, and let Rhaegar succeed the throne naturally. All of this would have been avoided.
I didn't know we were debating Barristan Selmy, but those are good points.
That's what I said. I just took the time to dunk on Barry, nothing else.
Fair, I guess. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I do have something. Yeah.
And your time, which one's the better king? This is the championships. Your time starts now.
So ultimately, the king's duty is to his people. So being honorable counts for a lot. And I'm glad that you brought up Ned, Richard, because the thing about Ned and Rhaegar's death that they have in common is because they lived lives with honor and nobility and died for a cause that they cared about. people are still rallying to their cause even after their death. And so that is a powerful testament to the character and the presence of somebody. And I think that speaks highly of Rhaegar. And because, again, Rhaegar died at 23, didn't get the chance to be king. Daemon has a long track record of making political decisions, and a lot of them could be criticized. And a lot of them led to civil war and the downfall of House Targaryen as well. Obviously, Aerys, you know, it's like we're talking about Rhaegar's responsibility for fixing his father's mistakes, but it's really Aerys that brought down the house. I just think, like, you want a balanced king, and Daemon is not balanced. He's too violent.
There you have it, folks.
All right, calling for votes.
Richard, you got a rebuttal?
Not to sound like Otto Hightower.
All right. We're not supposed to get two rebuttals, so I think we'll go to the vote.
Just realized I was saying the same thing as Otto Hightower.
Damn, that hurts. All right, chat. This is the last one. Devoted to Mariah has started it off with the guitars. That's one vote for the guitars. Which man would make the better king? Ooh, we got another guitar, MJW. Ooh. Which man would make the better king? The guitar or the worm? Terra Incognita, big brain. Mage without organs, small brain. No, big brain, big brain.
One thing I will say about Daemon, you know, when we were back on the question of who would you want, like in the long night, when I did my Daemon character video, I definitely thought about Dany and Jon confronting the others, and I was like, you hope they've got a little bit of Daemon in them, like to do, right, to take on the others and stuff. You need some steel, some moxie, some like we'll all step up and do it kind of ness.
Yeah.
You need someone you know is going to pull the trigger and do a double tap in that situation, and that's Daemon.
Yeah.
Double tap for sure.
But I still think that doesn't necessarily make him the better king, but rather, like, that's why I say if Viserys and Daemon had worked together, that would have been a good tandem.
We'll try about 3-1 in favor of
See, that's what
Rhaegar.
Yeah.
Speaking story-wise, that's what makes Aegon the Third and Viserys the Second such a great duo when he's king and his brother is in, because they're what Daemon and Viserys could have been. At least what could have been goes on through their children and their grandchildren.
Yeah.
Aegon Third, best king.
The final score is 11.5 to 4.5.
Yeah, I wonder, like, would Daemon have been able to beat Robert? Would he have done that like lance trick where he trips the horse with the lance? And it's like Rhaegar probably just charged him and like fought him. You know? Like
I make fun of Robert for being a basic bro, but Daemon versus Robert on the battlefield would be a fight worth watching.
I think Robert gets it versus Daemon.
I do think Rhaegar, if he had had Valyrian steel, would have had a better chance too.
Yeah, an hour is a long time. That means like you're worth the shit.
Those blows will do more damage.
So, Richard, what's the official count for the last question? Question 18.
That was we ran about 3-1 ratio for favor of 9-3 in favor of Rhaegar.
All right, chat. Y'all saw I was not biased. I was very fair. But Rhaegar is the better man over Daemon.
He's calling people lick spittles and things.
Yeah. I mean,
I had nothing to do with it.
No.
You counted, Richard. Richard, who counted? Who counted?
He's mostly just less problematic and less violent. They're both really interesting characters, though. And they have a lot of skills. And you guys made great arguments. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So let the textbook say Rhaegar is the better man over Daemon.
hey. I lost. Daemon lost, but I came into this with a biased host, with a partner who couldn't get good internet connection. Richard stepped in. This was a man who came into this supposed to be a neutral outside observer, but then got thrown into the fray and had to pick a side, and he came in swinging, and I appreciate that, Richard. So I think even though we've lost, considering the handicap that we came into this with, I think we did pretty
good. We scored some points.
And at the end of the day, both of these guys, Daemon and Rhaegar, are lovable losers. They both kind of lost a bunch of stuff and didn't do everything right, and they're very compelling anyway. Yeah.
They're both definitely heroes of House Targaryen. The doctor says less problematic and less violent equals boring. Damn, doctor. Damn. So we're gonna close out. We're gonna close out knowing that Rhaegar, he is the best, and Daemon can suck it. History books.
Except for that
Everyone
you
knows.
actually would have voted for Daemon on all of these.
Now I changed my own mind. I changed my own mind with this stream.
No, this was really fun, Nettles. I saw you last one. I saw the one you did last week, and it was so much fun. I wanted to get in on it. So
Yes. Dave, thank you so much for being here. It means so much to me. Like, let me get a little bit sentimental. Let me get real. The facade is off. Like, this is awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorry.
well, and
Sorry.
I'm really glad Tim could come. This was fun. Like Tim was saying, we do tend to agree on most stuff. So this was kind of a nice little mix it up format here for the people that know us both.
Yeah. And like when someone said like they love seeing us like this, it just means like, yeah, you love seeing us unhinged because we try when we're doing Dave's show, that it's like we're a bit more reserved, I would say.
More eyes. Definitely more eyes. Yeah.
This isn't the first time that I've been drafted into a debate with Nettles. Actually, I went to Ice and Fire Con, and one of the first things that happens is Nettles grabs me and says, "By the way, you're doing the debate."
I did.
Also, this is the second time she's thrown you to the fray.
I had never even met Rich. Like, old new dude was like, this is a friend of mine. And I'm like, you're doing this fucking debate. Fuck you. Do it. And he was like, yeah. He's like, I'm game. I'm smart. I got big brains.
I had a teacher who did that to me in high school. He told me, you don't get a choice. You have to go to the debate.
So with that, let it be known that Rhaegar is the superior Targaryen without a fucking dragon. Imagine that. Not even a dinosaur with wings. Nothing. Nothing. And Rhaegar won. So I'm gonna let you guys do your closing arguments. Not closing arguments, just your closing thing. Like, if there's anything in the stream that you learned, or someone that changed your mind, or like just whatever the fuck you want to say, we're free in this country. For now, we're very free. So say whatever you got to say, Grey Waste Tim. Closing arguments, how you feel about being a fucking loser, Tim. Look at you.
Oh.
Those banners behind you mean nothing.
I thought I was going to say something really profound, and you had to undercut it with that. Well, what I was going to say is, going into this, you had said, like, based on Twitter polls, it seemed like Daemon was going to be in the lead, but that ended up not going. And that just goes to show what happens when you base things on polling numbers, but the actual people don't turn out to vote. This is an election year, people. You actually have to physically go vote.
This is too meta, Tim. It's too meta.
That's why I said I thought I had something good and profound and not and serious to say.
Awesome.
But those are my closing thoughts, is go vote.
Find Tim on Twitter. Please follow him here on YouTube for real. But Tim is the truth. Yeah. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
So my closing thought is that I kind of get annoyed when Lyanna is only considered as an adjunct to Rhaegar's story. Okay.
Ooh.
And
can you talk more about what that means?
Yeah. So most people talk about Lyanna inside a debate of whether or not Rhaegar is a creep, or whether he coerced her, or how do we feel about the age gap, and how are teenagers in medieval times and modern times comparable and stuff like that. And what I did was I kind of got annoyed that we're only talking about Lyanna from a Rhaegar context. So I put Rhaegar aside and I did a Lyanna study where I pulled all the quotes about her and put it together and tried to like see, what do we know about this character? Cleo, what do we know about the character? I'll lower my tone of voice. And what emerged was very interesting. And she is a very compelling character. I think that she has a lot of agency. And I think her story fits in with like Daenerys and Cersei and Sansa and and Rhaenyra and all the other women that are trying to find agency inside of this world. Like, she's betrothed to Robert and flees that marriage for some mix of reasons of love and prophecy. And what mix was that? Ned has some really interesting quotes about her. The thing where she interrupts the bullying of Howland Reed is so compelling when you like really go over it and think about it as a 14-year-old girl at a tournament, just like stopping 3 male bullies like that. Like, it's ballsy as fuck. And like, I have a sister who's very like Arya and Lyanna, to be honest, a younger sister. And so these characters, I feel like I know them instantly. And once I put that picture together of Lyanna, I was like, yeah, my sister would do that at 14. She absolutely would take a stick and start beating some guys that were picking on a Howland Reed. Like, she would do that. And so it's on my channel if anyone wants to check it out. It's just, Lyanna, I forget what I called it, but I have a character study playlist, and
just watch everything on his channel, please.
Well, I just think Lyanna's really interesting on her own if we just set Rhaegar aside. And since we've talked about Rhaegar all day, I just wanted to put that in. That's all.
Yeah. I just want to make a quick aside. Rich, I wanted to let you talk. I just want to make a quick thing with that too, is that like, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think with like just keeping things like in world, I see it like prohibition or even slavery. Like, we're humans. We change. Like, our world view changes, our personal view changes like every second and sometimes every 10 years. It just depends on whether we're talking about personalized beliefs or worldwide beliefs. And it's like, I view like the age of consent like prohibition. Like, if you go over to Europe right now where like the drinking age is 18, imagine me going in and like grabbing drinks from people and saying like, you're not 21, you can't drink. And they're like, but the drinking age is 18. What are you doing? I would look crazy, wouldn't I? Because I'm taking American standards and bringing it to Europe. Even though it's the same time period, different laws. So it's just, for me, like Westerosi, because I judge it by Westerosi law. Yes, I'm here in 2024 and I still have my bias towards it, but I'm really judging it by Westerosi law. And Rhaegar didn't break the law.
I think it's more a matter of like, it's just the situation that Lyanna was in. She was betrothed to Robert. The tourney happened. Whatever conversation she had with Rhaegar about the prophecy happened. And that's how old she was. And like, she made the best of it and acted pretty decisively in most of these things. So I just think it's wrong to portray her as a character that's manipulated and coerced and stuff. Like, there's a really great quote. Ned's talking to Robert, and Robert's saying, oh, Cersei didn't want me to fight in the melee. Lyanna never would have done that. And Ned's like, Lyanna would have called you on your bullshit and told you you're a fool. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that is the character, somebody that will stand up to power and speak truth, if you will. And so, yeah, if her and Rhaegar and Lyanna, or if Elia and Lyanna and Rhaegar had sold their polygamous marriage to the realm, they would have made a great ruling throuple, I think. And Lyanna would have been part of that. So
that would have been a great throuple. And that's a good point too. Yeah, like, women do have agency. Like, it depends on the type of woman that you're talking about. And Lyanna is the type of woman who beat bitches at tourneys. Like Rhaegar wasn't going to force her to do shit. I'm sorry. Y'all could think that if you want. We can have difference of opinion, but I don't think Lyanna is the type of woman that Rhaegar would force her to do anything. I feel like she has so much agency. And that's what makes this story compelling.
Everything that we get about Lyanna is like that she's a pretty decisive. She knew what Robert was, whether she had heard about Rhinestone and the Veil. Right, but she assessed his character and figured out that, like, I don't really want to marry that guy,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Because Robert had more cons than pros, but Rhaegar had more pros than cons. And I feel like Lyanna is smart enough to be able to make that decision between the two. All right, Rich, I want to let you talk and for us to close off.
Okay.
Just what you thought about the stream or whatever.
Yeah, it was fun. It was unexpected. You make me have fun in these, even if I don't.
I make you work.
And thank you for having me.
Awesome.
If people want to hear more from me, I have. I believe that George believes in ambiguity. His mentor, Gene Wolfe, definitely believed in ambiguity. He refers to Gene Wolfe as a mentor when Gene Wolfe passed away. And you might want to check out. People might want to check out the Book of the New Sun, by the way, by Gene Wolfe, because it's got a lot of similarities with A Song of Ice and Fire. 700-foot tall wall, black cloak, giant dog bigger than a person, torture. It's all tons of Lovecraft. Basically, most of the things that people seem to think are, many of the things, maybe most of the things that people think are revolutionary about Song of Ice and Fire are in the book of the New Sun. In fact, each book in the series is two nouns, an article, and a preposition, and somewhat similar to the way George.
Two nouns, an article, and a preposition.
Yeah, just like I mean, not in quite the same order as it's a shadow of the torturer. They're always singular, whereas one of them is usually plural, but not always. Like A Dream of Spring, obviously, is both singular. But my point is that there's a lot of similarities between the two series. Anyway, the point is he likes ambiguity. Ever since with Morning Come Mistfall, he's kind of been clear about that. And I think that him confirming one thing is true doesn't necessarily imply that the alternative is not also true or correct. And so I have a series called Triplet Targaryens. And yes, I know David doesn't like these things that aren't R plus L equals J. I think he does plant seeds in multiple directions. He does intend there to be multiple correct answers. And there can be symbolism in, even if he doesn't go with these other directions, there's interesting symbolism and historical parallels present in some alternatives.
Rich, can you say the name of the series again? People are asking in the chat.
I have a series of videos called Triplet Targaryens. It's Asher's Trueborn Sons. But the Book of the New Sun. Yeah, Gene Wolfe. The Book of the New Sun is the series that it was in 1982, and there's 4 books. It has the appendix at the end that some people, when they create ebooks, move to the beginning because it's they think it's more appropriate for the appendix to be at the beginning, which you could kind of see people wanting to do that with A Song of Ice and Fire. Gene Wolfe is their old surveys of fantasy series used to list it as either second or third, either between Earthsea and obviously Lord of the Rings, or immediately after. So it's considered, it was considered basically the second or third best fantasy series before Game of Thrones came along, right? And it's got like it is very much it's about torture and flaying and rape and the main character is not purely good and it's definitely, I mean, of course, these are all.
Well, we'll check it out.
These are not negatives for us, for our community, right? These are not negatives for our community necessarily, but anyway.
Themes.
We'll see if it's worth it. The New Sun.
Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. That's WOLFE. And when Gene Wolfe passed away in 2018, George said he was one of his 2 primary mentors back in his writer's workshop days. And it shows. It shows. They're very, very. There's a lot of similarities in their styles and things.
All right, Rich. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. David, thank you so much for being here. Tim, you're always amazing. Big brain, dude. I know you were fighting for your life. So many people in the comments said you were fighting for your life. Rich, thank you. Rhaegar, thank you for being the best Targaryen, better than Daemon. Chat, thank you. And that's the end of the stream. Rhaegar is better than Daemon. Have an awesome Saturday.
Like 20 times.
Bye.
Have a good one.